And the brutal incident took place a few months ago, and the school is Divya Jyoti Special Children's Residential School. It is situated in Bagalkote, location sector 54 of Navanagar, Bagalkote. The victim name is Deepak Rathore, and the accused Akshay Indulkar, along with his wife, can be seen beating this young boy who is mentally challenged, who is already disturbed. He is beating him with a belt and a plastic pipe. All right, viewers, let's move on to our next news segment, that is Bharat in 1 minute. A wanted criminal with a bounty of Rs 50,000 on his head was killed in a police encounter. During patrolling, police tried to stop two men on motorcycle. The men opened fire on the police party. In counter firing, one of the criminal got shot. National capital wakes up to thick blanket of toxic smog, reducing visibility and causing discomfort to residents across the city. Several parts of the city experienced a dense haze, with pollution levels remaining alarmingly high. Four criminals were injured and one accused arrested following a police operation in Ballia after the suspects opened fire at police. Police confirmed that a detailed investigation is ongoing and strict legal action will be taken against all individuals involved in the crime. All right, viewers, let's move on to our top next big breaking news that we are getting right now at this moment. NIA arrests founder of Telangana Rashtra Party, Gade Enaya, in allegations into his alleged support to ban the CPI Maoists party and Maoists. NIA officials surrounded the Mailu, a home ashram run by Gade Enaya. The National Investigation Agency conducted searches at the ashram this morning. It is reported that they are questioning the ashram's administrator, Gade Enaya. It is suspected that Gade Enaya recently went to meet Hidma's family. So he allegedly went to meet Hidma's family. Now, NIA officials are conducting an investigation from this angle too, the angle of the meeting and how come he went and met Hidma's family. So this is a very big development that is coming in. NIA arrests founder of Telangana Rashtra Party, Gade Enaya, in allegations into his alleged support to ban the CPI Maoists party and Maoists. For more details, we are being joined by Aishwarya. Aishwarya, please give more details about this big breaking development.
Yes, absolutely. As you pointed out, Gade Enaya, he is one of the social workers who runs the national ashram, as well as politically very active in Telangana state. Currently, NIA has arrested him in his village in Jangaon, where most of the Maoist activities had once been very active. In earlier years, he lives in one of those. He's been arrested from one of those districts after he was spotted supporting the re-evolutionize of the Maoist protest there in that particular forest areas. Where he was, where the NIA is suspecting that he's becoming one of the, he's being responsible for again repopulating the Maoist revolution movement there after multiple surrenders as well as encounters that were taking place in due course of a few months in Telangana specifically. If you see, there was at least in matter of 1-2 months, there were almost more than 100 Maoists who surrendered in front of Telangana DGP himself. So in order to, after the Hidma encounter also, the particular Maoist movement had become less popular, but NIA has currently arrested him in allegations of him trying to repopularize it, and they are trying to investigate further. And currently, they are moving him from Jangaon to Hyderabad for further interrogation.
All right, Aishwarya, thanks a lot for the information. So it's a very big development, and we'll follow up this story as more developments follow. All right, viewers, let's move on to another top big breaking news. A man has been arrested after Bengali singer Lagnajita Chakraborty alleged that she was abused and nearly assaulted during a live performance at a private school in Purba Mednipur's Bhagavanpur area on Saturday. In a written complaint submitted to the police, Chakraborty gave a detailed step-by-step account of the incident that took place during her program at South Point Public School. And here's what she said. She stated that the event began at 7 p.m. and continued smoothly for the first 45 minutes. But after that, what happened? Now, singer Lagnajita alleges assault at the event. She alleges that she has been assaulted. Now, for more details, we are being joined by Pinky for more information on this incident. Pinky, it is being said that she has been assaulted and she was asked to sing a secular song, Pinky.
देखिए, कल भगवानपुर में, जो कि ईस्ट मिदनापुर में है, वहां पर एक शो में गए थे ये रिनोन सिंगर लग्नजिता चक्रवर्ती, और वहां पर जो 7th सॉन्ग था वो था जागो माँ, जो कि बहुत एक मूवी का सॉन्ग है, बंगाली सॉन्ग है, और वो गाना लग्नजिता ने गाया। गाने के बाद जब ये गाना खत्म हुआ, तभी वहां पर महबूब मलिक कह के, जो इस स्कूल का जो स्कूल में ये प्रोग्राम हो रहा था, फाउंडेशन में जो स्कूल फाउंडेशन डे के लिए जो प्रोग्राम होता है वो हो रहा था, उस स्कूल का वन ऑफ द ओनर है ये महबूब मलिक, और टीएमसी लीडर कह के भी परिचित है इलाका में। ये महबूब मलिक उठता है स्टेज में, उठ के लग्नजिता चक्रवर्ती को हेकल करता है, हरेस करता है और उसको मारने तक भी जाता है। ये भी कंप्लेन लेटर में लिखा हुआ है। कहना ये है उनका कि कोई भी आप या लग्नजिता चक्रवर्ती क्यों एक जागो माँ सॉन्ग गा रहे हैं, क्यों वो सेकुलर सॉन्ग गाए। और ये कहा गया कि इनफ सिंगिंग जागो माँ, सिंग सम सेकुलर सॉन्ग, ये भी कहा गया था ये महबूब मलिक की तरफ से। कंप्लेन लेटर दिया गया था भगवानपुर थाने में या कंप्लेन पुलिस स्टेशन में लग्नजिता की तरफ से, और आज सुबह अरेस्ट हुआ है महबूब मलिक। आपको बता दूं, महबूब मलिक को आज कोर्ट प्रोडक्शन किया जाएगा, मगर इस घटना को लेके चारों तरफ से निंदा हो रहा है।
All right, thanks a lot for the information. So the organizer wanted her to sing a secular song and she was allegedly assaulted and he tried to hit her. All right, viewers, let's move on to our next story. The illegal mining in the Aravalis remains a top focus. The Republic investigation has exposed the rampant post-sunset illegal mining across Aravali range in the state of Rajasthan. The growing momentum of the Save Aravali movement has reflected rising public awareness that the future of the Aravali range is directly linked to regional sustainability. Now, just a definition change and you can understand what can happen to Aravalis, where already illegal mining is taking place. It's happening right now. The degradation of the Aravalis has direct impact on North India's climate resilience and even air quality and also water resources, with urban centers such as Jaipur, Delhi and Gurugram being practically vulnerable. The movement also has highlighted the need for science-based policy making and also transparent governance. Calls to protect this biodiversity, the flora and fauna, maintain ecological connectivity and ensure sustainable livelihoods align with India's broader environmental responsibilities. By engaging citizens, lawmakers and legal institutions, the movement underscores that safeguarding the environment is a collective responsibility.
We are here at Ajitpura village in Kotputli, Rajasthan, and we are showing you yet another blatant breaking of law and order. We are showing you, this is the 4th village where we are showing you illegal mining going on against the DGMS order. The allowed span is between sunrise to sunset, and they have clearly just decided to not follow the law, and this, you can see the full mining process going on in a full-fledged way. I'm also going to show you, they use this deep hole blasting method where when they dig around 7 to 8 inches deep some holes and then they fill it with explosive and then they blast that site. They're doing it around 40 to 50 meters close to the residential area, while the permissible limit is 300 meters only. Because you can see that this is where the deep blasting is actually taking place, and just few meters away from here, this is the residential area. These are the homes which, because of the lack of light, might not be very visible. But this is what is happening. Apart from this, there is on the far end, you can probably see that there is this talab, there's this water body, and the acceptable limit for any deep hole blasting to happen is at least 45 meters away from that water body. But they have started it right next to it, around 3 meters close to the water body. They've started this deep hole blasting, and that is on the left side. Now on the right side, we'll show you there are 3 heavy machines which are very dedicatedly emptying out water that has been collected. Now 3 dedicated machines for emptying out the water from that area, which is affecting the groundwater level in this locality. And at the top, there are around 7 to 8 heavy machineries installed, which is affecting the air level, the pollution, and also which is causing around 2 inches deep, which according to the locals, each of their homes have around 2 inches deep deposit of cement every day. Their crops are unable to grow because of that cement deposit, and also their houses have huge cracks. And this is all, viewers, this is all happening in defiance of law and order. Well, we are at Pawana Ahir, which is a very secluded village at Rajasthan, and till now we have covered around 3 villages, and one thing has been common, that is illegal mining all throughout the Aravali hills. And right now I'll show you the situation because it is caught on our camera. As you can see, there are 3 trucks. When we came here, when Republic came here, this was a well-lit area. Mining was going on, and as per the DGMC order, which is Directorate General of Mine Safety, DGMS order, no mining is allowed post sunset. So the allowed time period is between sunrise to sunset. But we reached here around half an hour ago, and this entire area I am showing you, which is pitch dark right now, this was completely well lit. There you can see there are 3 trucks who are functioning, who are carrying out the mining, illegal mining of that sorts. And the moment they saw us arriving, they started turning off the lights one by one. All these trucks who were working, they became stationary, and now this entire area, which was very well lit just 15 minutes ago, is completely pitch black. Now, even if you see, we'll also show you just a few meters ahead from us, a small light. That is the only light which is still there, which is not even 2% of the light, how well lit this area was. And that is where this entire area, there was mining going on against the law, against the order. And after being reminded n number of times, they still continue to do this. And this has been a common practice in all the villages that we have covered till now. And the locals have told us that this remains to be similar all throughout the Aravali Hills, and this is before the Supreme Court has accepted the new definition of Aravali Hills. Aravali Hills and several of its mountains have been chopped off from the top so that they don't qualify the 100-meter criteria, which is no mountain which is below the 100 meters will be considered a part of Aravali Hills. Thus, it will lose protection. It will lose government protection, and it'll be open to corporate affairs, to construction, to mining, and illegal mining for that matter. Once again, I'm going to show you this entire area, this mining zone that you see, which spans around 2 villages at Pawana Ahir village. 3 trucks are pretty clear, pretty visible right now. They were lit up, this entire area, several huge lights, but within a matter of 5 minutes, the moment they saw us approaching them, the moment they saw us coming, they've managed to turn off every single light. They also turned off their trucks. The trucks are stationary. The people, you can still spot people who are sitting inside using their phones on inside the truck. You can see in all the 3 trucks, you can still see the movement. So they are still there. There was mining, illegal mining going on. And when Republic came at that spot, they stopped all the activity. तो आप हमारे एक बार दर्शकों को भी समझाइए, हम उन्हें समझाएंगे आपके पास जो मैप है उससे कि कहाँ आपका गांव और यहाँ आसपास क्या क्या चल रहा है, थोड़ा आप इससे हमें समझाइए।
बिल्कुल मैम, हम ललाउंडी गांव में हैं। ललाउंडी गांव में पिछले 10 से 15 सालों से, मिनिमम 15 सालों से कंटिन्यू ब्लास्ट किए जा रहे हैं, माइनिंग, इनलीगल माइनिंग की जा रही है। इनलीगल माइनिंग के अंदर यहाँ हम, हाँ, इधर हम अभी खड़े हुए हैं। ये पूरा अरावली रेंज हमारी पहाड़ी है, छोटी सी प्यारी पहाड़ी मैडम। इसके पीछे आज से 15 साल पहले 3 क्रेशर जोन स्थापित हुए थे, मादेवा, बालाजी, हरी ग्रेड। ये हमारा खसरा नंबर 1294 और ये 1301 पे माइनिंग चल रही है, जिसकी दूरी महज कागज़ों में 60 से 80 मीटर बताई गई है, जबकि एरियल व्यू इसका देखें हम मुश्किल से 20 से 30 मीटर के आसपास होगा। और माइनिंग इतनी भयानक की जा रही है कि रात में भी ये लोग माइनिंग कर रहे हैं, ब्लास्टिंग इतनी तेज़ करते हैं कि भूकंप के झटके हमको महसूस होते हैं।
तो अभी आपको ये पता होगा कि जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट है उसने एक नई परिभाषा एक्सेप्ट कर ली है कि जो ये पूरा अरावली है उसमें जो भी पहाड़ 100 मीटर से कम के होंगे वो अरावली में नहीं माने जाएंगे, जो कि लगभग 90% जितने हैं, 90% पहाड़ हैं यहाँ पे। अब इसका मतलब ये होगा कि उनके ऊपर से प्रोटेक्शन हट जाएगा। तो हमें बताइए कि अब और क्या क्या चीज़ें होंगी एक बार जब वो 90% खुल जाएगा सरकार के इस्तेमाल के लिए, कॉरपोरेट इस्तेमाल के लिए।
ये लोग इनलीगल माइनिंग को लीगल कर कर अपने पैसों से अपना पेट भरना चाह रहे हैं। बहुत मोटे स्तर पर ये काम किया जा रहा है। ये लोग चाह रहे हैं कि राजस्थान की संस्कृति जिससे जुड़ी हुई है, राजस्थान का इतिहास अरावली से जुड़ा हुआ है। मैडम, हम हमारे होते हुए ये नहीं होने देंगे। अरावली नहीं मिट सकती, जब तक हम हैं अरावली नहीं मिटने देंगे।
All right, viewers, let's move on to our top big story that is coming from Chhattisgarh. Communal tension, arson and stone pelting scene. The situation has deteriorated in Kanker district of Chhattisgarh, where a dispute between the tribal community and tribals who have converted to Christianity has escalated into a violent clash. The incident reportedly took place in the Amabeda area, where the two groups confronted each other over the burial of a body. Now, according to reports, the dispute began over the burial of a person belonging to the Christian community in the village, and hence tensions escalated. It is alleged that the body was forcibly buried in the village, which angered the local residents who reside at that place. The situation quickly escalated, became tense, and the dispute turned violent. Upon receiving information about the violence, police and administrative teams rushed to the spot. During efforts to control the situation, even several police personnel, including the area's DIG Tukaram Kamble and SP Ashish Bansor, were also injured. Several people from both sides are also reported to have been injured in the clash. Considering the seriousness of the situation, the administration has imposed Section 144 in the area. For more information, we are being joined by Bharat. Bharat, what is the situation right now? Is the situation still tense?
देखिए, कांकेर जिले के आमाबेड़ा जो इलाके पड़ते हैं, जहाँ पे आदिवासी समुदाय और ईसाई धर्म अपना चुके आदिवासियों के बीच में जिस तरीके से विवाद बढ़ गया था, विवाद झड़प में बदल गया था, जिस वजह से आमाबेड़ा क्षेत्र में जिस तरीके से एक व्यक्ति के शव दफन को लेकर दोनों पक्षों में आमने सामने जैसे विवाद जो है वो बढ़ गई थी। ईसाई समुदाय से जुड़े एक व्यक्ति का शव को गाँव में दफनाने को लेकर जो विवाद का मामला जो है वो सामने आया था, जिस वजह से विवाद इतनी बढ़ गई थी कि वो विवाद हिंसा में परिवर्तन हो गया। हिंसा में परिवर्तन होने के बाद बहुत से पुलिस के जो अधिकारी हैं वो भी घायल हो गए। मामला इतना तूल पकड़ गया कि उस पूरे इलाके में 144 जो धारा है वो लागू करनी पड़ गई थी। स्थिति इतनी विपरीत हो गई थी। वहीं अगर बात की जाए इस पूरे मामले को लेकर छत्तीसगढ़ के जो गृह मंत्री हैं उनका भी बयान इसको देखने को मिला था। डिप्टी सीएम गृह मंत्री का जो बयान है वो भी आया था। उन्होंने कहा था कि कांकेर के देवड़ा गांव की जो घटना है बेहद ही चिंतनीय है। ऐसे में पूरी घटना में अंतिम निर्णय की जरूरत है। पुलिस ने अच्छा काम किया, लेकिन कहीं ना कहीं एक शव को दफनाने को लेकर ईसाई धर्म और आदिवासी समुदाय में जिस तरीके से विवाद हो गया था, विवाद होने के बाद उस गांव के जो लोग हैं, गांव के जो सरपंच, उन्होंने गांव तक छोड़ दिया था। इतनी विवाद और इतनी हिंसा बढ़ चुकी थी कि परिस्थितियां विपरीत हो चुकी थी। तो ऐसे में कहीं ना कहीं जो आमाबेड़ा में जो सरपंच है उन्होंने भी अपना गांव जो है वो छोड़ दिया था। पूरा जो घटनाक्रम हुआ था कांकेर के अंतर्गत आमाबेड़ा एक गांव पड़ता है जहाँ पे ये पूरा हिंसा जो है वो जो हिंसा है वो परिवर्तन हुई थी। कहीं ना कहीं पूरे इलाके की अगर बात की जाए तो जिस तरीके से हिंसा बढ़ी थी, हिंसा बढ़ने के बाद भीम आर्मी और मिशनरी की जो है उन लोगों ने भी शुरू कर दिया था हिंसा। तो हिंसा जो है आदिवासी में
ठीक है भरत, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। थैंक्स अ लॉट फॉर द इंफॉर्मेशन। इट्स आल्सो अ डेवलपिंग स्टोरी एंड we'll track the developments. But coming up next, viewers, Republic investigation exposes illegal mining along the Aravali Hills. Republic cameras catch illegal crushers operating inside habitation zones.
MDH की देगी मिर्च,
देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का।
MDH की देगी मिर्च।
Amity has been ranked among the top universities globally for producing the most employable graduates by the Times Higher Education UK. Yet another testimony to Amity's excellent placement record.
Our pure Shahi Paneer Masala. Delicious, healthy, every day.
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
We just now felt this entire mountain shiver because there are blasts going on. As we were telling you, usually for the limestone mining, the acceptable range of the blast is around 1 meter. And that won't be so harsh that we could feel this entire mountain, feel shake. Yes, definitely. And the kind of, because for cement mining, they need a blast.
Good evening and welcome to our estate, Building the Nation. This is the show where we cut through the noise and bring you what truly matters in real estate. Facts, trends and decisions that impact your money and your future. Tonight, from the key developments shaping the market this week to stories that help you make better decisions, we've got you covered. Let's begin with the top real estate news making headlines this week.
The Ganga Expressway, the second largest expressway in India, is set to open this January, stretching from Meerut to Prayagraj and cutting across 12 districts. It's a major boost to Uttar Pradesh's high-speed road network. Project officials say just 10 to 15% of Phase 3 is left. Once complete, the expressway will significantly improve access during the annual religious gathering. Spanning 12 districts, the project carries an estimated cost of 5,626 crores. The Ghaziabad Development Authority is gearing up to launch the first phase of its mega Harnandipuram housing project within the next 5 months. The groundwork is already underway, with a full topographical survey using drones and satellite mapping to lock in the blueprint. Spread across 541 hectares, Harnandipuram will redefine urban living, with zones for Sports City, Medicity, Cyber City and Edu City. Strategically placed next to the rapid rail transit corridor and linked by key expressways and the Delhi Metro, it's designed for next-gen connectivity. Navi Mumbai is set to roll out its intelligent traffic management system on Palm Beach Road next month. Developed through a PPP model, the NMMC's tech-led pilot aims to upgrade traffic control without adding financial pressure. Once active, the ITMS will adjust signal timings in real time based on vehicle density at every junction. The system is designed to cut delays, ease congestion, and keep traffic moving smoothly across the city.
Once you understand what's happening in the market, the next question is, how do we build better spaces to live in? On Design Dialogue today, we bring you a story on Anagram Architects, an award-winning practice known for thoughtful, climate-responsive design and a strong sense of responsibility towards people and communities.
Hi, I'm Madhav Raman. I'm a partner at Anagram Architects. We are a multidisciplinary design and architecture studio based out of New Delhi and Goa.
My name is Shruti Dimri. I am principal at Anagram Architects. I joined them 11 years ago.
Hi, I'm Vaibhav Dimri. I'm from Anagram Architects. I'm partner at Anagram Architects.
I know these guys since college and we were a still smaller firm in 2014. So coming into the practice, it was a bit, I would say, not chaotic, but a little less organized.
So really the practice started from this idea that, oh, we should just work with each other. So there's nothing really bigger than that. But it's lasted us now almost 25 years.
The kind of education system that we come from, where we used to make models with our own hand, or test construction techniques with our own hand on site, that kind of culture has remained in our office. In remote areas when we're working, you try and use technology and cameras and Zoom links, but I think we still heavily rely on touching the material ourselves.
Context comes from what client wants. It obviously comes from climate, where it belongs. The cultural context is important, the climate is very important, but the budgets are also equally contextual. So how can we be within the budget or what the client is aspiring that building to be? I think it's very important. We should never forget that we are building for somebody else.
Some of our houses that we've done, they seem to have a lot of impact for the families they live in them. There's outre, there's cleft. You see, in India, a home that people build for themselves comes at the end of a very long aspirational journey. It's not considered a real estate investment. So I think most of our private residences is where you can genuinely see an impact in the lives. We are looking at how homes are morphing now as we build larger and larger apartment complexes, residential complexes. We are understanding the dynamic between living as an individual in a larger community, and also the understanding of how those are actually instruments of real estate investment. People are looking for dividends that are financial, not just aspirational. So these are the things that we are beginning to understand now.
You have to get material that is locally available, as much as possible naturally occurring materials. It's very simple, and there are very few things that you have to follow to ensure that the building is sustainable as it can be. You have to follow climatology, you have to respect the sun, its angle, its distance, seasons, etc. And you don't have to do too much. So I think all of our buildings do follow very thorough guidelines as far as sustainability is concerned, because the approach is such, because the studio approaches projects in such a way that it is inevitable that the approach to construction follows these values.
HARDC was the first building actually we ever did. And interestingly so that we were very young at that point of time, and client put a lot of trust on us. He wanted an efficient building for his NGO. Simply, that was the only brief. As in, we were looking at it beyond just the building. And that's what we always do. We don't look at building within its footprint. We are looking at it in the context of where it belongs. But obviously the limelight was the jali or the brick facade which we created. And at that point of time, it was very, very unique because there was no parametrics then and computers were very new. And we worked with the masons, and we learned a lot with the masons. That was the first building, so we didn't even know. To the first building, instead of making simple bricks, we made the brick differently. And it was just a thought. But then with masons and stuff, we tried to work it out, and it was very hands-on.
I think our studio is very is very concerned about what's going to happen because of climate change over the next 20 years, which is really where we see ourselves before we sort of retire. And I think it's a very, very dynamic space, and it requires not just this idea of sustainability, but now I think architecture has to move on to resilience. We can see how our cities are flooding, how we live in many cities, and this is across the world, in places that are very, very highly polluted, where we seem to have eradicated all other forms of life forms like flora, fauna. Cities are no longer lively places. I think these are all concerns that architecture can address successfully.
You've heard this many times before, but bad design is the actually expensive design, and this is something that you have to tell the client, that if you don't get a designer, then you're actually building something that's going to cost you much more in the longer run. I think there is a huge change in the consumer in the last 10 years, where I think more and more people understand the value of good design, which is not just limited to having something that you can take a picture in front of and put on Instagram. It goes way beyond. I think people really understand now.
This cleft house is something, it's a residence. It's residence in North Delhi. Client wanted something which he had never seen before. And when we went to the site and when we saw the site, we realized that there are no views up front. If you look at the entire road, you realize that lots of buildings are there. They are basically, they have default balconies, because balconies are free of FAR. So people, whatever you get free, people want it. So we decided, why do we actually need it? Why do we go for default where balconies are given? So we decided not to have any balconies, not to have any windows, because it didn't require. And there was no view. And that also created a very monolithic kind of structure. And when it was getting built, people thought it was a mall or something. It's not so we don't believe in typologies. You know, we don't say that house is a typology which has to be designed like this. I think typology, how the space feels. So if the courtyard feels like a house, it's a house. If it feels like a mall, it's a mall.
People who want to study architecture and become architects are coming from smaller and smaller towns. I think it's a great thing. I would seriously advise that anyone who comes to a big city to learn architecture should try and consider going back to their town and setting up a studio. I think the value you would bring to your community would be so immense. It would replace any other joy that you may get out of winning a competition, winning an award. Just people you know coming to you and saying what an awesome building or what an awesome space you created is a joy that's incomparable.
In our Real Report this evening, we take a closer look at why religious cities across India are witnessing a real estate surge and the factors driving this growing demand.
Ayodhya, Kashi, Shirdi, Tirupati, Rameshwaram. Today, these spiritual cities have it all. Airports, rail links, expressways, schools, industry and business hubs. In just 3 years, property prices here have surged over 200%. As infrastructure grows, India's sacred centers are witnessing a powerful revival, driven by a post-pandemic shift towards calmer, purpose-driven living. That momentum is powered by landmark projects, the Ram Temple complex in Ayodhya, the Kashi Vishwanath corridor in Varanasi, and permanent event infrastructure in Prayagraj, dramatically improving access and amenities. Religious tourism is now booming, drawing pilgrims from across the world. The surge is lifting hospitality, retail and housing demand. For many, investing here is emotional, a return to faith and heritage. With leading developers launching modern homes and serviced apartments, these ancient cities are entering a new era of growth and long-term value.
After that report, I'm here in the studio with Ashwinder R. Singh to address some of the questions many of you have been asking. This is the Clarity Corner, and Ashwinder R. Singh will help us in breaking it down for you. So, I have quick questions for you. Let me ask you the first one. For someone looking to sell their property, one of the biggest challenge is pricing it right. How can a seller realistically determine the right price for their home?
Now, the right price isn't what you want. It's what the market will pay today. Benchmark against recent sales within 1-2 kilometers, not just listing. Real buyers pay for usability and not nostalgia. Another point to keep in mind is, as a seller, if you price your properties 5-7% below the perceived market rate, the property sells 3 times faster. Yes, it sells 3 times faster. In real estate, time is money and liquidity is the new luxury. Remember, liquidity will always score more than anything else in real estate.
There's been a lot of conversation around interest rates. Do you think the recent rate cut will actually translate into higher housing sales?
Well, I want to tell you that the world has changed, Indian buyer has changed, and it is all about sentiments. And rate cut is no more the sole driver. Buyers move when jobs, confidence, and supply of real estate aligns. India's housing market is now aspiration driven. It is more aspiration sensitive, not rate sensitive. The new buyer fortunately responds more to lifestyle than to loan rates. I think we give far more importance to rate cuts than we should. Earlier, this was not the case, but now the Indian home buyer and real estate investor is far more evolved.
We've seen steady momentum in the luxury housing segment. Do you expect this demand to continue over the next few years?
Yes, luxury demand is driven by wealth formalization and not speculation. People need to understand that. Buyers are mostly end users, not flippers. And that is why luxury demand is going to be good. Luxury today means privacy, wellness, and design. It's a secular demand story and not a cyclical one. People have become aspirational. They want a good quality of life. They need good amenities. They need a good standard of living. That's why the luxury demand, according to me, is going to remain consistent, sustainable, and thrive. Why just for 3 years, but maybe for the next decade?
And finally, many people see real estate as a long-term investment. Does investing in property still offer the potential for stable passive income?
The 3 pillars of passive income are rental yield, co-investment, and fractional ownership. In today's time and age, all are strengthened by technology, platforms, and blockchain. The smartest investors, according to me, build cash flow before capital gain, rent before resale, yield before the yield curve. Real estate is a great asset class for passive income, but it is also a great asset class for capital appreciation along with passive income. If you keep real estate as a long-term asset class investment instrument, in 10 years, you'll be surprised that it has given more returns than any other asset class ever, whether it is equity, whether it is gold, or anything else. So yes, these are the 3 things you can keep in mind while choosing real estate as a passive income instrument.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ashwinder R. Singh, for joining us here today on Our Estate, Building the Nation. And now it's time to look ahead. In 26 for 2026, we bring you the trends already shaping the future of real estate, quick, focused, and easy to follow.
Mumbai
MMR will see over 15 luxury launches in 2026 starting at rupees 2 crore. By 2030, redevelopmental projects may cross rupees 1.30 lakh crore. The Ganga Expressway, India's second largest, is set to open before Magh Mela 2026 with construction nearly complete. It will connect Prayagraj and Meerut seamlessly. India's first bullet train will debut by 2026. Trial runs between Bilimora and Surat will hit 320 km per hour with indigenous 8-coach prototypes under testing. Over 30 premium projects launched in Gurugram and Noida in 2026 starting at rupees 2 crore. Noida Greater Noida leads India in recent price growth. Navi Mumbai Airport opens December 25, operating day hours. Initially, a major airline will launch with 23 flights scaling to 35. Mumbai gets its second international airport. By 2026, virtual tours and 3D walkthroughs will transform property marketing. Better material planning may cut construction waste by 30%, while AI could boost sales efficiency up to 30%. Circles rates across major cities like Delhi NCR and Mumbai may rise nearly 20%, driven by land prices and large-scale infrastructure upgrades. The Delhi-Mumbai Expressway, India's biggest road project, is expected by May 2026, cutting travel time between the two cities to just 12 hours. Yeida will launch 973 residential plots near Noida Airport in January 2026 across multiple sectors, just ahead of the airport's expected opening. Delhi Metro's Rithala-Narela corridor and Pune Metro Line 3 will partially open in 2026, significantly boosting urban connectivity. Oyo plans a 6,500 rupees crore IPO in 2026. With over 1 lakh rooms, the company reports annual profits of around 80 crore rupees. Rental yields are expected to rise from 3 to 3.5% in 2026, with Bengaluru, Hyderabad and Mumbai seeing rent hikes up to 15%. Chennai will unveil its third master plan in January 2026. The 2027 and 2046 roadmap will guide the city's growth for the next 2 decades. ESG complaint real estate is gaining momentum. Green certified projects may rise to 30% of new launches by 2026. Noida International Airport, India's largest, will begin operations in 2026. Phase 1 includes 1 runway and terminal handling 12 million passengers annually after mandatory testing. India's co-working market could hit rupees 30,000 crore in 2026 as operators expand from 15 to over 25 cities beyond metros. India plans to integrate 20 gigawatt of renewable energy by 2026, building over 10,700 kilometers of transmission lines across Gujarat, Rajasthan and Tamil Nadu. Discussions on RERA 2.0 may begin in 2026, focusing on transparency while addressing developer concerns like faster approvals and realistic timelines. A 14,000 crore rupees freight corridor will link Vadhavan Port to Samruddhi Mahamarg, easing congestion and improving north-south connectivity in Maharashtra. The FNG Expressway is set to open by 2026, cutting travel time by 40 minutes and unlocking major housing, retail and office development across NCR. Affordable housing supply may rise 8% in 2026 with prices up 5%. Key hotspots include Indore, Surat, Kochi and Jaipur. India's data center capacity is projected to grow 30% in 2026 with $2 billion in fresh investment from global and domestic tech giants. Guwahati is emerging as an IT corridor with hospitality booms across the northeast. With rising tourism, multiple REITs may launch northeast-focused funds by 2026. Commercial real estate is expected to grow up to 12% in 2026, with FDI touching $7 billion across top business cities. 10 cities including Pune, Kochi, Indore, Jaipur and Ahmedabad are set to see strong real estate appreciation in 2026. Pepperfry targets a 2026 IPO after $150 million funding and plans 50 showrooms. Sadoxo expands smart cities, Siemens launches smart building services and Ultratech adds major capacity.
That's all we have on this edition of Our Estate, Building the Nation. From the week's top news to design, data and what lies ahead, we hope tonight's show helped you better understand a fast-changing real estate landscape. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more and we'll see you next time on Our Estate, Building the Nation.
प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा हार्डवेयर मसाला।
प्लीज स्टॉप।
झुमका तेरा झुमका तेरा झुमका
नॉट देयर, मेरा काउंटर टॉप टूट जाएगा।
तेरा झुमका मेरी चिमनी टूट जाएगी। What are you doing?
रानी इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील TMT से बना।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा।
Viewers, the Epstein Files Transparency Act's December 19 deadline prompted the recent release of the Jeffrey Epstein Files, which disclosed a vast amount of information that connects the financier's personal life to his connections to the most influential people in the world. The House Oversight Committee collected over 95,000 photos and documents from Epstein's estate, which served as the foundation of the recent revelations. Watch this detailed report for more.
The recent release of the Jeffrey Epstein Files, triggered by the December 19, 2025 deadline of the Epstein Files Transparency Act, has unveiled a massive trove of data that bridges the gap between the financier's private life and his proximity to the world's most powerful figures. What was once whispered in deposition transcripts is now being visualized through tens of thousands of images and documents. The backbone of the recent disclosures is a collection of approximately 95,000 photographs and documents obtained from Epstein's estate by the House Oversight Committee. While the Department of Justice, DOJ, began its mandated release on December 19th, House Democrats had already begun a drip feed of these materials. The files include estate photos, high-resolution images of Epstein's properties, including his Manhattan townhouse and his private island, Little St. James. Photos of a dentist's office in his Caribbean home, BDSM equipment, and peculiar office decor, such as a chalkboard with words written on it. A commemorative book given to Epstein for his 50th birthday, containing notes and signatures from various elites. The files contain visual confirmation of several high-profile connections that have been the subject of speculation for years. One significant image features former President Bill Clinton smiling alongside Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. The photo reportedly bears Clinton's signature in gold ink, though his representatives have long maintained he knew nothing of Epstein's crimes. Photos capture Bill Gates in social settings with Epstein, including one where he is seated with the financier and the former Prince Andrew. Another photo strangely showed Gates and Andrew together with King Charles, cropped out of the original frame. In a surprising intersection of worlds, filmmaker Woody Allen is seen in multiple photos, including one where he is conversing with former Trump advisor Steve Bannon at an Epstein-related social gathering. The files offer a nuanced examination of the relationship between Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump, which spanned approximately 15 years before a falling out in 2004. Trump appears in at least 3 images from the new batch. One shows him at a Hawaiian-themed party surrounded by 6 women whose faces are redacted. Another shows him sitting with a woman on what appears to be an aircraft. Despite the provocative nature of the photos, investigators and journalists note that none of the images released thus far show Donald Trump engaging in illegal activity or provide smoking gun evidence of involvement in Epstein's sex trafficking ring. Despite the December 19th deadline, the release has been criticized for being incomplete. Huge swaths of the 95,000 photos remain unreleased to the public. The House Oversight Committee has stated it is redacting the faces of potential victims to protect their privacy. The Department of Justice released a partial batch on the deadline day, announcing that the remainder of the files would be released over several weeks. This has led to accusations of a cover-up from some lawmakers who argue the DOJ is violating the transparency law. The files have unearthed details that paint a picture of Jeffrey Epstein's obsessive need for leverage and his strange intellectual preoccupations. Photos of a landline phone at Epstein's island residence showed first names written on the speed dial, hinting at the immediacy of his access to powerful people. Some of the most personal images include Epstein in a bathtub and a selfie of the financier with a swollen lip, the context of which remains unknown. The release has turned into a partisan battleground. Democrats, led by Representative Robert Garcia, claim the files prove a White House cover-up. At the same time, the White House and Republican allies accuse Democrats of cherry-picking photos to create a false narrative against President Trump, noting that Trump himself signed the act to release these very files.
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला सिप सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे केसरिया से मन जोगी
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी
प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला डिलीशियस हेल्दी एवरीडे
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
We just now felt this entire mountain shiver because there are blasts going on. As we were telling you, usually for the limestone mining, the acceptable range of the blast is around 1 meter. And that won't be so harsh that we could feel this entire mountain, feel shake. Yes, definitely. And the kind of, because for cement mining, they need a blast of a larger range of something around 50 meters or 60 meters. And when that
from Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Hello viewers, you are watching the Republic TV. This is Shivam Dutt Mehta, and in this bulletin we will bring you the top national and international stories. But first up, the headlines. Shocker comes to light from Karnataka's Bagalkote. A 16-year-old mentally challenged boy brutally thrashed with belt and plastic pipe on camera. FIR filed in the case.
Bengali singer alleges assault bid over Jagoma performance. Maharashtra local body election results underway. Mahayuti crosses 200 mark with BJP in lead. MVA trails behind in trends. Indian visa application center suspended in Bangladesh's Chittagong amid security concerns. Trump's photo among 16 Epstein Files disappeared from US government website. Republic speaks to one of the survivors. All right, viewers, let's start with the top big breaking news that's coming in at the moment. Indian visa application center has been suspended in Bangladesh's Chittagong amid security concerns. Big development, the Indian visa application center in Bangladesh's Chittagong will remain suspended amid the unrest in the country and the security concerns. It announced on Sunday. The Indian Visa Application Center in Bangladesh informed on their website that due to recent security concerns at AHCI Chittagong, Indian visa operations at IVAC will remain suspended until further notice. The announcement for reopening the visa center will be made after reviewing the security situation. It also stated the official website said the development came as security was tightened around the Assistant High Commission office in the Upper Shahar area and the visa application center in Shobha Nigahat in Bangladesh. So situation is quite tense in Bangladesh. Indian visa application center suspended in Bangladesh's Chittagong amid security concerns. The Indian Visa Application Center in Bangladesh's Chittagong will remain suspended amid unrest in the country and security concerns. It announced on Sunday. The Indian Visa Application Center in Bangladesh informed on their website that due to recent security concerns at AHCI Chittagong, Indian visa operations at IVAC will remain suspended until further notice. For more information, we are being joined by Kishel on phone line. Kishel, what are the latest updates? The Indian Visa Center has been suspended in Chittagong.
Well, exactly. Looking at the situation in Bangladesh right now, the law and order has been completely shattered. We have seen radicals out on the loose, and we've seen a Hindu man being lynched and burnt. In that situation, also we have seen that there were protests outside the Indian Embassy and the Indian Visa Application Centers. The latest news is the Indian Visa Application Center, IVAC, in Chittagong has been suspended for now. It was decided last night that it will be suspended, in fact, and now the decision has been made. Now the announcement has been made. On the other hand, 3 other visa application centers in several other parts of the country are right now under closure, one in Dhaka and 2 other in different parts of Bangladesh are also closed. In the IT park in Dhaka has also been closed. So about 4 visa application centers of India in Bangladesh right now has been closed down by Indian authorities. Looking at the deteriorating law and order situation of the country, we've seen that the mob completely out of control came very close to the Indian embassy 3 days back after Osman Hari's death was announced, and the police had to really push them back. And now looking at the security of the personnel inside the visa application centers, India is right now, India has decided to close these centers till the law and order situation improves.
All right, Kishel, stay with us. We are moving on to another big breaking development that we are receiving at this moment, and another big development that has come as Bangladesh court imposes travel ban on ousted PM Hasina and 16 others. A court in Bangladesh has imposed a travel ban on deposed Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, who is currently in India, along with 16 others. The order was issued on Sunday by a Dhaka court after an application was filed by the Anti-Corruption Commission. Commission ACC. Now, according to the Commission's spokesman Tanzir Ahmed, those named in the order include Awami League General Secretary Ubaidul Qadir, Presidium members Amir Hussain, Amu Tofel Ahmed and Khandakar Musharraf Hussain, former Law Minister Anisul Haq Muhammad Abdul Manan, Man Siddiqui, Muhammad Farooq Jalil, Shafiqul Kareem, Firoz Iqbal, Ibn Alam Hassan, Muhammad Aftab Hussain Khan, Muhammad Abdul Salam, Monir Uz Zaman Chaudhry, Salina Chaudhry and Ikram Iqbal. The ACC said the order was made by Dhaka Metropolitan Senior Special Judges Court during the court's vacation period. Now, court documents filed by Anti-Graft Agency indicate the travel ban is linked to allegations of financial irregularities involving a toll collection contract awarded during Hasina's time in office. So another development for Sheikh Hasina, a big development. Kisle is again on the phone line with us. Kisle, tell us more about this development. Her ID cards have already been suspended. And what more?
Well, these developments really doesn't mean much to Sheikh Hasina, who is currently in an unknown location in India. As per sources, we have seen that there was a death sentence that was pronounced a few weeks back in Bangladesh, and Sheikh Hasina was, in fact, was sentenced to death. On the other hand, there was several other members of Awami League who have been right now under scanner. And now this travel ban, which has been promulgated by a court in Bangladesh after the application of Anti-Corruption Commission, is now on order. But it really doesn't mean anything, as Sheikh Hasina and all the members who have been named are not really in Bangladesh right now. And even if they are in Bangladesh, their location is not known to the authorities. So the police is, at one hand, looking for these people who have been named. Most of them are Awami League leaders and Awami League leaders who have been who are right now not in Bangladesh, and some of them, some of their location is not known to the police. That is what the order says. So they're looking for them, but the Sheikh Hasina, who is right now in an unknown location in India, has already been sentenced to death on a different account. She has been sentenced to life imprisonment, and now another rule comes where her travel ban is promulgated by a court in Bangladesh, but it really doesn't mean anything to her as she's not in Bangladesh.
All right, Kishle, thanks for the information. This is a developing story, and we'll share more info as the story develops. Let's move on to our next news segment, ladies and gentlemen, which is Bharat in 1 minute. A wanted criminal with a bounty of rupees 50,000 on his head was killed in a police encounter during patrolling. Police tried to stop two men on motorcycle. The men opened fire on the police party. In counter firing, one of the criminal also got shot. National capital wakes up to thick blanket of toxic smog, reducing visibility and causing discomfort to residents across the city. Several parts of the city experienced a dense haze, with pollution levels remaining alarmingly high. 4 criminals were injured and 1 accused arrested following a police operation in Ballia after the suspects opened fire at police. Police confirmed that a detailed investigation is ongoing and strict legal action will be taken against all individuals involved in the crime.
भारत को मातृभूमि मानने वाला, भारतीय संस्कृति पर श्रद्धा रखने वाला और भारतीय पूर्वजों का गौरव मन में रखने वाला एक भी व्यक्ति हिंदुस्तान की भूमि पर जब तक जीवित है तब तक भारत हिंदू राष्ट्र है। यह संघ का विचार है और इसलिए हिंदुस्तान हिंदू राष्ट्र है। कभी मन में आया संसद के कि बदलो और उसमें शब्द डालो, वो डालेंगे, नहीं डालेंगे तो भी ठीक है। हमको कुछ उस शब्द से मतलब नहीं है, क्योंकि हम हिंदू है, हमारा हिंदू राष्ट्र है, ये सत्य है। किसी पोथी में लिखा होगा, नहीं लिखा होगा, जो है सो है, वो बदलेगा नहीं। इसलिए उस झंझट में न पड़ते हुए ये समझना कि जन्म आधारित जाति व्यवस्था ये हिंदुत्व का हॉलमार्क नहीं है। जातियां बदली है काम के अनुसार, जन्म जाति में होने के बाद भी काम बदल गया उस जाति का तो जाति ही बदल गई, ये हुआ है। और कोई व्यवस्था, कोई खानपान रीति रिवाज, कोई पूजा यानी हिंदुत्व ऐसा बिल्कुल नहीं है। मैंने पहले ही बताया, अपने मंत्र पुष्प कहते हैं हम, मंत्र पुष्पांजलि में शब्द आता है। कितनी व्यवस्थाएं थी प्राचीन भारत में? ओम स्वस्ति साम्राज्यम, भौज्यम, स्वराज्यम, वैराज्यम, पारमेष्ठ्यम, राज्यम, महाराज्यम, आधिपत्य, समंत पर्यायी, सार्वभौम, सार्वायुष। इतनी व्यवस्थाएं एक समय भारत में अलग अलग स्थानों पर चलती थी, फिर भी समुद्र पर्यंताया पृथिव्यै एक राटिति। समुद्र पर्यंत पृथ्वीराजा ने कृषि योग्य बनाई इस भूमि में, समुद्र पर्यंत एक राष्ट्र है। तो ये जरूर नहीं कि आज हम हिंदू राष्ट्र है ऐसा सबने मान लिया तो वो जाति व्यवस्था ही आनी चाहिए। हम कोई दूसरी नई व्यवस्था बनाएंगे, समता न्याय पर आधारित, जन्माधारित न हो, गुणकर्माधारित हो, कुछ भी हो। उस समय का समाज विचार करेगा और अपने विकास के लिए और सब में सद्भावना के लिए, सबके विकास के लिए अनुकूल व्यवस्था ले। व्यवस्था तो बदलती है समय के अनुसार। और इसलिए हिंदुत्व यानी जाति व्यवस्था, वर्ण व्यवस्था, ये समीकरण गलत है। कोई भी व्यवस्था एक नहीं, वो बदलती है देश काल परिस्थिति अनुसार। पूजा प्रत्येक व्यक्ति की अलग हो सकती है, खान पान रीति रिवाज भूगोल के अनुसार बदलते हैं। ये सारा बदलने वाला है। इन सब में एक बात है, सर्व समावेशी संस्कृति। उसके लिए जिन्होंने काम किया वो पूर्वज, और जिनके कारण हम ऐसे बने वो हमारी मातृभूमि। ये तीन जब तक है तब तक हिंदू है, हिंदू राष्ट्र है। बाकी सारी बातें ये बदलने वाली बात है, उनके वापस आने का डर नहीं पालना कभी भी। जातिगत भेदभाव भारत में कब आया वगैरह आप डॉक्टर अंबेडकर का पढ़िए, हु वेयर दी शूद्रास, बहुत अच्छा रिसर्च है, उसमें आपको पता चलेगा। और आजकल मैंने ये भी पढ़ा है कि 80-85 पीढ़ी के पीछे पहले ये भेदभाव नहीं था, जातियां थी लेकिन रोटी बेटी होता था। तो गुप्त साम्राज्य के बाद ये रिजिड हो गया और जन्माधारित बन गया, उसके पहले नहीं था। ऐसा भी मैंने पढ़ा है। तो एक अध्ययन करने का विषय है, अध्ययन कीजिए। ये मूल से हिंदू समाज में नहीं है, कभी ये आ गया देशकाल परिस्थिति के कारण, और देशकाल परिस्थिति के परिवर्तन के कारण ही उसके जाने का समय आया है। वो जाने वाला है, वो जाए इसलिए उसको पीटने की आवश्यकता नहीं, वो जाएगा, ठीक से जाए, इतना केवल देखना है इसके। और हमारी एक राष्ट्रीय पहचान है, वो पहले से है, हम हिंदू है। या कुछ लोग कहेंगे हम भारतीय है, आर्य है, इंडिक लोग है, हिंदवी है, ठीक है, ये सब समानार्थी शब्द है। इनका मतलब एक ही होता है कि भारत भूमि के अंदर परंपरा से रहने वाले और जो सबको स्वीकार करते हैं, सबका सम्मान करते हैं, वो। ये हमारी एक राष्ट्रीय पहचान सब विविधताओं के बावजूद कायम रही है। आजकल हम विविधता के कारण हमारे नजर में भेद आ गया, इसलिए इसके भेद बनते। तो हमारे नजर से परायापन, दिल से परायापन हटा लो, तो इन सब विविधताओं के बावजूद हम एक कैसे है, और हमारी एकता की ये शोभा है, सारी विविधताएं, ये आपको साक्षात्कार होगा, वो करने की आवश्यकता है।
इसके साथ जुड़े एक प्रश्न और भी है। डॉक्टर ममता चावला, आप वैज्ञानिक हैं। प्रश्न ऐसे है, वामपंथी लोग कहते हैं कि मनुस्मृति।
All right, let's move on to our next story. Big breaking news coming in, and this is in regard with the local body polls in Maharashtra. Big breaking development. The Bharatiya Janata Party, that is BJP, has emerged as the largest party, leading in 129 seats out of 288. Big development. The Shiv Sena led by Eknath Shinde secured 51 seats, while the Nationalist Congress Party, NCP, led by Ajit Pawar, won 35 seats. The Congress Party also bagged 35 seats. The Shiv Sena UBT faction, led by Uddhav Thackeray, won 9 seats, and the Sharad Pawar-led NCP-SP secured 7 seats. Other parties and independents also won 22 seats. The official results will be out in some time. So very big development in the local body election results from Maharashtra, and how people have chosen Shiv Sena. As Eknath Shinde says that people chose the real Shiv Sena. Big development coming in from Maharashtra. The Bharatiya Janata Party has emerged as the largest party, leading in 129 seats out of 288. The Shiv Sena SS led by Eknath Shinde secured 51 seats, while the NCP, Nationalist Congress Party, led by Ajit Pawar, has won 35 seats. The Congress Party has also bagged 35 seats. The Shiv Sena UBT faction, led by Uddhav Thackeray, has won 9 seats, and the Sharad Pawar-led NCP SP secured 7 seats. Other parties and independents won around 22 seats. The official results will be out in some time. Big development for Maharashtra. Another big achievement for the Bharatiya Janata Party, who has emerged as the largest party in Maharashtra local body polls. They are leading in 129 seats out of the 288 seats. The Shiv Sena, which is led by Eknath Shinde, has also secured 51 seats. Big development here too. While the NCP, the Nationalist Congress Party, NCP, led by Ajit Pawar, has won 35 seats, and the Congress Party has also bagged 35 seats. Shiv Sena UBT faction, led by Uddhav Thackeray, has won 9 seats, and the Sharad Pawar-led NCP SP secured 7 seats. Other parties and independents have bagged 22 seats. The official results will soon be out in some time. So big development in Maharashtra, big achievement for BJP. For more information, we are being joined by Satyaprakash. Satyaprakash, if you can explain more details about what do you derive from this development. The Bharatiya Janata Party is the largest party right now, leaning in 129 seats. Big development.
Audio nahi aa raha.
Satyaprakash, we'll try to get back to you. Are you able to hear me? Satyaprakash, आप मुझे सुन सकते हैं? मेरी आवाज आ रही है? All right, we'll try to get back to Satyaprakash for more details on this story. A bit of technical issue there, and we'll get back to Satyaprakash. But it is a very big development for Maharashtra local body polls, and BJP is the largest party in Maharashtra local body polls. Again, a big achievement for the Bharatiya Janata Party and Maharashtra local body polls. Mahayuti wins. Big development. 129 seats for BJP, leading in 129 seats out of the 288 seats, and the Shiv Sena, led by Eknath Shinde, had secured 51 seats, while the Nationalist Congress Party, NCP, led by Ajit Pawar, has also won 35 seats. The Congress Party is gaining around 35 seats. The Shiv Sena UBT faction, led by Uddhav, has won 9 seats, and the Sharad Pawar-led NCP SP has secured 7 seats. Other parties, independents, have also won 22 seats. So Maharashtra local body polls, BJP has come up as the largest party in the local body polls. And also reactions are coming in of this development. And they are also saying that the results of Maharashtra local body polls, this is what is being said by Eknath Shinde, it's just a trailer of what's to come on January 26 civic polls. Big development. All right, viewers, let's move on to our next big story. The Indian rupee's steady fall against the dollar has become one of the defining economic stories of late 2025. The slide reflects a mix of global and domestic pressures, foreign investors pulling money out of Indian markets, a widening trade deficit, and uncertainty around US trade policy. As the rupee weakens, imports such as oil, electronics, and machinery become more expensive, feeding inflation and raising everyday costs for households. At the same time, exporters in IT services, textiles, and pharmaceuticals find their products more competitive abroad, which can support growth in those sectors. The rupee's decline is therefore a double-edged sword, offering opportunities for some while straining others.
Nirmala Sitharaman replies to a question on the sliding value of the rupee.
Rupee has lost less than 1% of its value against the US dollar.
Indian rupee has plummeted to an unprecedented low.
Rupee has breached a key psychological threshold
as the rupee free fall continues for 16 straight months.
Imagine you're standing at a petrol pump watching numbers climb faster than you expected. Or you're in a medical store quietly calculating whether to buy the full strip of tablets or just half for now. Or maybe you're scrolling on your phone and notice
my OTT subscription fee just shot up 20% in 1 month.
All of this points to one thing. Somewhere in the background, something invisible has shifted. The invisible thing is the Indian rupee.
It's a historic low for the Indian rupee. That's very sad.
जब डॉलर मनमोहन सिंह जी के टाइम में जब हाई चल रहा था तो इन लोगों ने क्या कहा था, तो आज क्या जवाब दे रहे हैं इनसे पूछिए ना.
प्रधानमंत्री जी को बधाई 90 तक पहुंचाने के लिए 100 तक पहुंचा देंगे जिस गति से रुपया जा रहा है.
The fall of the rupee is not a breaking news event for most people. It doesn't arrive with sirens. It creeps in slowly, quietly, and by the time you notice it, it has already eaten into your monthly budget. What makes this harder to grasp is that the rupee has been falling for so long that many of us have grown up assuming that this is normal. In 1947, $1 was worth around 3 rupees. In the early 90s, it crossed 17. Today, it's hovering around 91.
Well, it is a deliberate choice, I think. The RBI is allowing the rupee to depreciate. This is not a very drastic depreciation. Of course, when you look at things like 90 rupees to the dollar being a level that is close to being breached, etc., it seems rather dramatic. But the reality is that the rupee has depreciated less than 10% against the dollar this year.
This is not a one-year story. It's a generational one. And to understand why this keeps happening, we have to start very far from India, thousands of kilometers away, in the United States. With a currency that controls the world more than any army ever could. The US dollar is not just America's money, it's the world's money. Oil is bought and sold in dollars. International loans are taken in dollars. Big companies keep their profits in dollars. And even countries that don't trust each other still trade in dollars. And when someone tries not to, they get a threat.
So they wanted to try and take over the dollar, the dominance of the dollar and the standard of the dollar. And I said, anybody that's in the BRICS consortium of nations, we're going to tariff you 10%.
Over decades, especially after World War II, the dollar slowly became the default language of global business. So when something changes in the American financial system, the effect is felt everywhere. And one of the most powerful levers in this system is the US Central Bank, the Federal Reserve.
This is the Federal Reserve headquarters in Washington.
Good afternoon.
When the US Central Bank, called the Federal Reserve, raises interest rates, it is basically telling the world, keep your money with us, we will reward you more.
The US Federal Reserve has decided to increase interest rates. I think it's time to move my money.
Higher interest means safer and better returns for global investors. Pension funds, insurance companies, and large investment firms move their money to the US because it suddenly feels like the safest parking spot. Money flows out of riskier places, countries like India, and flows into America. This movement doesn't happen on television. It happens on computer screens, inside trading rooms. But the impact shows up in your daily life. When investors pull money out of India, they sell Indian assets and convert their rupees into dollars. That creates more demand for dollars and more supply of rupees. Just like any other market, when supply goes up and demand goes down, prices fall. The price of the rupee falls. And when the rupee falls, everything India buys from the world becomes more expensive. This is where the story usually stops in most explanation. It's because of the dollar, they say. But that is only half the truth, because many countries face a strong dollar. Yet, not all countries have their currencies fall in the same way. Some weaken slowly over decades, some crash suddenly. India's story sits somewhere in between.
I think Indian rupee has performed much better than many other emerging market currencies. But I think the efforts are by the RBI more towards there are not too much of volatility. It is not to intervene in the market to fix the value of rupee.
The rupee has not collapsed overnight, but it has steadily lost purchasing power over generations. So now the story turns inward, towards India itself. India imports a lot: oil, gas, electronics, machinery, medical equipment, fertilizers. Even parts used to make products inside India are often imported. Most of these things are paid for in dollars. So when the rupee weakens, India needs to spend more rupees to buy the same things. Even if global oil prices remain stable, petrol and diesel can still become costlier inside India because the rupee is weaker than it was a decade ago.
Rupees weaker, same phone costs more.
The cost doesn't stay limited to fuel. Transport becomes expensive. Vegetables cost more to move from one farm to the other, from farms to cities. Bus fares, cab fares, delivery charges, everything feels slightly heavier on the pocket. This is how currency weakness turns into inflation. Not overnight, but steadily. Year after year, quietly reducing what one salary can buy compared to the previous generation. Now add another layer. India also depends on foreign investments to fund its growth.
To my entrepreneur friends from across the globe, I would like to say, come, make in India.
Roads, factories, startups, stock markets, a large part of this money comes from outside.
India's GDP growth hit 7%. I think I should invest in India.
When foreign investors feel nervous because of global tensions, rising US rates, or uncertainty about trade, they pull back. In recent years, especially around 2024 and 2025, foreign investors sold large amounts of Indian stocks and bonds. And that selling pressure weakened the rupee further. Here is where it becomes a loop. Investors leave, rupee weakens. Rupee weakens, investors worry more. They leave even faster. And this is not about India doing something terribly wrong overnight. It's about confidence. And confidence moves faster than facts. Now, to keep that confidence from collapsing entirely, someone has to step in. And the role falls to the Reserve Bank of India.
Our effort has been always to reduce any abnormal or excessive volatility. And that is what we will continue to endeavor.
It's not helpless. It has a very large reserve of foreign currency built slowly over decades, especially after the 1991 crisis taught India a very, very painful lesson about running out of dollars. When the rupee falls too fast, the RBI sells dollars from its reserves and buys rupees. This supports the rupee temporarily. Think of it like using savings to manage a tough month. It helps, but it cannot become a habit. Because
All right, viewers, time to slip into a short commercial break. But coming in, Trump's photo among 16 Epstein files disappeared from US government website. Republic speaks to one of the survivors.
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ 8 मिनट में तैयार क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा हार्डकोर मसाला
झुमका तेरा झुमका नॉट देयर मेरा काउंटर टॉप टूट जाएगा तेरा झुमका मेरी चिमनी टूट जाएगी व्हाट आर यू डूइंग
रानी इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा रुंगटा स्टील टीएमटी से बना
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं रुंगटा स्टील टीएमटी बार एकदम सॉलिड
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी एमडीएच का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला सिप सिप जीरा सिप एमडीएच का जल जीरा सिप एमडीएच का जल जीरा सिप
200 mark with BJP in lead, MVA trails behind in trends. Indian visa application center suspended in Bangladesh's Chittagong amid security concerns. Trump's photo among 16 Epstein Files disappeared from US government website. A Republic speaks to one of the survivors. All right, viewers, we are getting a very big breaking news coming in right at this moment. We are getting visuals of PTI protest in Pakistan. As you can very well see, Imran Khan's party, PTI, is protesting against the sentences which were awarded to Imran Khan and Bushra Bibi. These are the images, these are the videos which you can see on your television screen. Visuals of the PTI protest which is happening in Pakistan. This after a sentence was awarded to Imran Khan and Bushra Bibi. For more information on this, we are being joined by Gursimran. Gursimran, what are the latest updates? What exactly is happening in the streets of Pakistan?
See, it was yesterday. We have seen that after 17 years, punishment was given. The jail sentence was given to Imran Khan and Bushra Bibi in the Toshakhana second case. It was very evident that it is going to rock the streets of Pakistan, especially Islamabad. We have seen that Imran Khan has given directions to Sohail Khan Afridi, who happens to be the Chief Minister of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, to intensify the protest and hit the streets. And now what we are witnessing, that PTI workers and the cadres have hit the streets. They are saying that injustice has been done, and it was actually on the expected lines. Reason being that the way DGISPR came out in open against Imran Khan and the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf last week, it was evident from that very moment that now the way for Imran Khan, it is not going to be a cakewalk. It is going to be a path of thorns that he has to cross, and the Pakistani army and the establishment will ensure that Imran Khan suffers way bigger than he has been suffering for the last 3 years. So now that is happening on ground, and we know that in Pakistan, the establishment has always been on the upper edge when it comes to the courts, and that was evident yesterday when Imran Khan and Bushra Bibi were given 17-year sentence in the Toshakhana 2 case.
All right, Gursimran, thanks for the updates. This is a developing story. We'll get more to you viewers as the story unfolds, because you can see the visuals of protest in Pakistan. Let's move on to another big story that we are receiving right now. In a disturbing and inhuman incident, a 16-year-old mentally challenged boy. This is a disturbing video. He was brutally assaulted at the boarding school in Bagalkote. The victim, whose name is Deepak Rathod, was allegedly beaten with a belt and plastic pipe by his own teachers, Akshay Indulkar. Along with his wife, he was beating the student, and not just beating, he was even laughing. While he was beating the student, he was withering in pain. The residential school is run by the couple. The attack on the boy continued even after he fell on the ground and was rolling and writhing in pain, as you can see very well from the visuals. They even threw chili powder into the boy's eyes, stated a police complaint which was filed by the boy's parents. Just imagine, the boy's parents were paying for him to stay at that boarding school, and he was assaulted definitely on a daily daily basis, it must be. They are beating him with a plastic pipe, a belt. They are even throwing chili powder in his eyes. Brutal visuals, brutal, unbecoming of teachers. And just imagine, this was an NGO-run school and they were beating students like this. And he was a mentally challenged boy. He's a mentally challenged boy. It occurred a few months ago and the visuals are now out and action is happening. Action is being taken place, and very well, as you can see from the visuals, he is being beaten with a plastic pipe, brutally beaten, a mentally challenged boy who's already facing troubles in his life, and he is being beaten by his own teachers who should have acted, who should have played the role of protectors, and these inhuman teachers are beating him in front of everybody else. So police action has taken place here, as you can see from the visuals. He has been taken. All right, we have Sangappa, DC Bagalkote with us. Sir, if you can tell us the latest updates, what are the latest developments, what action has been taken against these inhuman teachers, sir?
The FIR has been registered four people, 2 cooks and to whom they are in, Akshay and Anandji. The FIR has been registered. Out of 32 children who have been stayed here, we have informed yesterday only to the parents. 28 parents have came and they have taken their children back. 4 children are there. We have informed their parents.
All right.
And yesterday we have done medical checkup with help of our district health officer and even psychiatrist also. The action has been taken by the district administration.
All right, sir. Was this an NGO and it did not have mandatory license also, sir, as we are getting the information? Is it true? And are all children shifted to some other locations, or have the parents taken them home? Because these visuals are disturbing, sir.
No. Parents have taken back to their home and we have informed them. We have got other 2 schools which have taken permission from the department, one at Amingarh and one Thagi. We have informed them, parents, if they agree, willing, we will shift the children to the concerned institutions. But now they have taken to there, they have sought some time, sir, we will come back, they have told. Now, out of 32 children, 28 children's parents have taken back to their home.
All right. Thanks a lot, Mr. Sangappa, DC Bagalkote, who joined us for more information on this development which we saw, how brutally this child was beaten and with a belt and with a plastic pipe, and he was withering in pain. He was asking for help. He was mentally challenged and inhuman, unbecoming of teachers. Just imagine, the parents were paying. They were paying for their kid, for their child, and he was receiving such a bad treatment. We also have Siddharth Goyal, SP Bagalkote, who has joined us to talk about more on this incident. Sir, under what sections have action been taken place? And the FIR has been registered, we are hearing. Sir. All right. It seems the line got disconnected. We'll try to get back to Siddharth Goyal, SP Bagalkote. But the visuals are horrifying and disturbing visuals, as you can very well see on the screen. He's just merely a 16-year-old boy who is mentally challenged, and this is the way they are treating him. They are beating him. They're beating him brutally. They're beating him with belts. They are beating him with a plastic pipe. And even the wife of the teacher is allegedly involved in the beating, and they're laughing after brutally thrashing this little young boy who was mentally challenged. Disturbing visuals, as you can see, and it took place a few months ago, around 3 months ago, as we are getting more intel, more information about this story. This was run by under an NGO. Okay, all right, we now have Siddharth Goyal, who is the SP of Bagalkote. Sir, under what sections have action been taken place? The FIR has been registered. And if you can tell us more about this incident, the details of the crime, the horror, sir. Mr. Goyal, are you able to hear my voice, sir? Can you tell me under what sections of the FIR has been registered against these culprits, sir? All right, so these were the brutal visuals, as you can very well see on your television screen, how he was brutally beaten. That young boy, 16-year-old boy, who was beaten with belts and with a plastic pipe. All right, let's move on to our next big breaking news that we are getting it at the moment. RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat's big statement amid atrocities against Hindus in Bangladesh. He says, and I quote, "Hindus are minority there. Hindus are minority there, and the situation is quite difficult. The Hindus there will have to stay united, and Hindus all over the world must help them. The Indian government will have to take cognizance of this. They will have to do something." This is coming from the RSS chief. They might already be doing something. He also said this: some things are disclosed and some cannot be. So it's hinting about the action. Sometimes there are results, sometimes there aren't, but something has to be done. So he's showing concern. He further says if the Hindu society stands united, it won't take long to change the situation in that region. Now, regarding my thoughts on political change, as he said, I want to tell you that thinking about political change is not my job. We are working for social change through the Sangh. So very big development. This is a big statement coming on what happened to Hindus in Bangladesh. You saw the visuals how a Hindu man was brutally beaten and then burned in the street, on the street by the radicals. And this is a very big statement that is coming from RSS chief Sarsang Chalak Mohan Bhagwatji, and this, he said there are minority there, that is the Hindus are a minority in Bangladesh, and the situation is quite difficult for them. Even though it's difficult for maximum protection, the Hindus there will have to stay united. So he appeals for Hindus to be united in Bangladesh to stay protected for their own safety, for the safety of Hindus. And he also urged the Hindus all over the world should come together and give a helping hand. They must help them, and the government should take some action. And he also hinted that maybe some action is already happening. Sometimes you get results, and sometimes it takes time, and sometimes there is no result. All right, viewers, let's move on to our next news segment, that is Bharat in 1 minute. A wanted criminal with a bounty of rupees 50,000 on his head was killed in a police encounter. During patrolling, police tried to stop two men on motorcycle. The men opened fire on the police party. In counter firing, one of the criminal also got shot. National capital wakes up to thick blanket of toxic smog, reducing visibility and causing discomfort to residents across the city. Several parts of the city experienced a dense haze, with pollution levels remaining alarmingly high. 4 criminals were injured and 1 accused arrested following a police operation in Ballia after the suspects opened fire at police. Police confirmed that a detailed investigation is ongoing and strict legal action will be taken against all individuals involved in the crime. All right, viewers, let's move on to our next top story. The Indian rupee's steady fall against the dollar has become one of the defining economic stories of late 2025. The slide reflects a mix of global and domestic pressures. Foreign investors pulling money out of Indian markets, a widening trade deficit, and uncertainty around US trade policy. As the rupee weakens, imports such as oil, electronics, and machinery become more expensive, feeding inflation and raising everyday costs for households. At the same time, exporters in IT services, textiles, and pharmaceuticals find their products more competitive abroad, which can support growth in those sectors. The rupee's decline is therefore a double-edged sword, offering opportunities for some while straining others.
Nirmala Sitharaman replies to a question on the sliding value of the rupee.
Rupee has lost less than 1% of its value against the US dollar.
Indian rupee has plummeted to an unprecedented low.
Rupee has breached a key psychological threshold.
As the rupee free fall continues for 16 straight months.
Imagine you're standing at a petrol pump watching numbers climb faster than you expected. Or You're in a medical store quietly calculating whether to buy the full strip of tablets or just half for now. Or maybe you're scrolling on your phone and notice
My OTT subscription fee just shot up 20% in 1 month.
all of this points to one thing. Somewhere in the background, something invisible has shifted. The invisible thing is the Indian rupee.
रुपए की कीमत घट रही है.
It's a historic low for the Indian rupee. That's very sad.
जब डॉलर मनमोहन सिंह जी के टाइम में जब हाई चल रहा था तो इन लोगों ने क्या कहा था, तो आज क्या जवाब दे रहे हैं, इनसे पूछिए ना.
प्रधानमंत्री जी को बधाई 90 तक पहुंचाने के लिए 100 तक पहुंचा देंगे जिस गति से रुपया जा रहा है.
The fall of the rupee is not a breaking news event for most people. It doesn't arrive with sirens. It creeps in slowly, quietly, and by the time you notice it, it has already eaten into your monthly budget. What makes this harder to grasp is that the rupee has been falling for so long that many of us have grown up assuming that this is normal. In 1947, $1 was worth around 3 rupees. In the early 90s, it crossed 17. Today, it's hovering around 91.
Well, it is a deliberate choice, I think. The RBI is allowing the rupee to depreciate. This is not a very drastic depreciation. Of course, when you look at things like 90 rupees to the dollar being a level that is close to being breached, etc., it seems rather dramatic. But the reality is that the rupee has depreciated less than 10% against the dollar this year.
This is not a one-year story. It's a generational one. And to understand why this keeps happening, we have to start very far from India, thousands of kilometers away, in the United States. With a currency that controls the world more than any army ever could. The US dollar is not just America's money, it's the world's money. Oil is bought and sold in dollars. International loans are taken in dollars. Big companies keep their profits in dollars. And even countries that don't trust each other still trade in dollars. And when someone tries not to, they get a threat.
So they wanted to try and take over the dollar, the dominance of the dollar and the standard of the dollar. And I said, anybody that's in the BRICS consortium of nations, we're going to tariff you 10%.
Over decades, especially after World War II, the dollar slowly became the default language of global business. So when something changes in the American financial system, the effect is felt everywhere. And one of the most powerful levers in this system is the US Central Bank, the Federal Reserve.
This is the Federal Reserve headquarters in Washington.
Good afternoon.
When the US Central Bank, called the Federal Reserve, raises interest rates, it is basically telling the world, keep your money with us, we will reward you more.
The US Federal Reserve has decided to increase interest rates. I think it's time to move my money.
Higher interest means safer and better returns for global investors. Pension funds, insurance companies, and large investment firms move their money to the US because it suddenly feels like the safest parking spot. Money flows out of riskier places, countries like India, and flows into America. This movement doesn't happen on television. It happens on computer screens, inside trading rooms. But the impact shows up in your daily life. When investors pull money out of India, they sell Indian assets and convert their rupees into dollars. That creates more demand for dollars and more supply of rupees. Just like any other market, when supply goes up and demand goes down, prices fall. The price of the rupee falls. And when the rupee falls, everything India buys from the world becomes more expensive. This is where the story usually stops in most explanation. It's because of the dollar, they say. But that is only half the truth. Because many countries face a strong dollar. Yet, not all countries have their currencies fall in the same way. Some weaken slowly over decades. Some crash suddenly. India's story sits somewhere in between.
I think Indian rupee has performed much better than many other emerging market currencies. But I think the efforts are by the RBI more towards there are not too much of volatility. It is not to intervene in the market to fix the value of rupee.
The rupee has not collapsed overnight, but it has steadily lost purchasing power over generations. So now the story turns inward, towards India itself. India imports a lot: oil, gas, electronics, machinery, medical equipment, fertilizers. Even parts used to make products inside India are often imported. Most of these things are paid for in dollars. So when the rupee weakens, India needs to spend more rupees to buy the same things. Even if global oil prices remain stable, petrol and diesel can still become costlier inside India because the rupee is weaker than it was a decade ago.
Rupees weaker, same phone costs more.
The cost doesn't stay limited to fuel. Transport becomes expensive, vegetables cost more to move from one farm to the other, from farms to cities. Bus fares, cab fares, delivery charges, everything feels slightly heavier on the pocket. This is how currency weakness turns into inflation. Not overnight, but steadily. Year after year, quietly reducing what one salary can buy compared to the previous generation. Now add another layer. India also depends on foreign investments to fund its growth.
To my entrepreneur friends from across the globe, I would like to say, come, make in India.
Roads, factories, startups, stock markets, a large part of this money comes from outside.
India's GDP growth hit 7%. I think I should invest in India.
When foreign investors feel nervous because of global tensions, rising US rates, or uncertainty about trade, they pull back. In recent years, especially around 2024 and 2025, foreign investors sold large amounts of Indian stocks and bonds. And that selling pressure weakened the rupee further. Here is where it becomes a loop. Investors leave, rupee weakens. Rupee weakens, investors worry more. They leave even faster. And this is not about India doing something terribly wrong overnight. It's about confidence. And confidence moves faster than facts. Now, to keep that confidence from collapsing entirely, someone has to step in. And the role falls to the Reserve Bank of India.
Our effort has been always to reduce any abnormal or excessive volatility. And that is what we will continue to endeavor.
It's not helpless. It has a very large reserve of foreign currency built slowly over decades, especially after the 1991 crisis taught India a very, very painful lesson about running out of dollars. When the rupee falls too fast, the RBI sells dollars from its reserves and buys rupees. This supports the rupee temporarily. Think of it like using savings to manage a tough month. It helps, but it cannot become a habit. Because reserves...
Well, viewers, time to slip into a short commercial break. But coming up next, Bengal singer alleges assault bid over Jago Ma performance. Coming up next.
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी एवरी डे।
we just now felt this entire mountain shiver because there are blasts going on. As we were telling you, usually for the limestone mining, the acceptable range of the blast is around 1 meter, and that won't be so harsh that we could feel this entire mountain, feel shake. Yes, definitely. And the kind of, because for cement mining they need a blast of a larger range of something around 50 meters or 60 meters, and when that happens, we were not able to show you, but because that is very frequent between 2 to 3 p.m. we'll try to get that on camera for you guys. But while I was speaking to you, I could feel this mountain shake. So that is the range, and all of this is illegal, Shivam. All of this, the range of those blasts which is used in those mining, the kind of trucks that you see on the other end, which are carrying those residual pebbles, those are also they are not legally allowed to sell those, but they're not only doing illegal work, they're also making double profit out of whatever is left here. They're making profit.
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला। MDH
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी एवरीडे।
We are willing to put an end to this conflict via peaceful means based on the principles that I outlined in July last year when I spoke at the Foreign Ministry of Russia.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात।
वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है?
अरे मेरे राजा,
सबका राजा प्योर मसाला, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Shocker comes to light from Karnataka's Bagalkot. A 16-year-old mentally challenged boy was brutally thrashed and belted, and plastic pipe was used while thrashing him. An FIR has been filed in the case. Bengal singer alleges assault bid over Jago Ma performance. Maharashtra local body election results are underway. Mahayuti crosses 200 mark with BJP in the lead. MVA trails behind in trends. Indian visa application center suspended in Bangladesh's Chittagong amid security concerns. Trump's photo among 16 Epstein Files disappeared from United States government website. Republic speaks to one of the survivors. All right, we start this edition with some breaking news that's coming in, and this is in regard with the situation in Bangladesh. RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat has now given a big statement amid the atrocities against Hindus in Bangladesh. He says, and I quote, "Hindus are minority there and the situation is quite difficult. The Hindus there will have to stay united and Hindus all over the world must help them. The Indian government will have to take cognizance of this. They will have to do something about the case. They might already be doing something. Some things are disclosed, some cannot be. Sometimes there are results, sometimes there aren't. But something has to be done in order to save Hindus." This is a big statement that's come from the RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat in an event celebrating 100 years of the RSS. Mohan Bhagwat, the RSS chief, has said that Hindus will have to stay united in Bangladesh. This comes after Deepu Das, a Hindu man, was lynched brutally in Bangladesh after there were protests that took place outside the Indian High Commission as well, after which is this statement that has come in from the RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat. Let's listen in to that full statement of Mohan Bhagwat, wherein he has asked Hindus to stay united not just in India but also in Bangladesh.
सब में होती तो ऐसा होता नहीं, सब में संवेदना होनी चाहिए और जो गलत परिस्थिति है उसको बदलने के लिए सबने मिलकर काम करना चाहिए। सामाजिक दृष्टि से देखने वाला मैं इसका उत्तर ऐसे ही दूंगा, हिंदुओं की दुर्दशा कब समाप्त होगी? वहां माइनॉरिटी है एकदम, वहां जरा कठिन है, फिर भी जो मैक्सिमम बचाव हो सकता है उसके लिए वहां के हिंदू को इकट्ठा रहना पड़ेगा और दुनिया भर के हिंदुओं को अपनी मर्यादा में रहकर उनकी कितनी मदद कर सकते हैं, जो और जितनी कर सकते हैं उतनी सब करनी पड़ेगी, हमको भी करनी पड़ेगी और हम तो वो कर रहे हैं। बाकी हिंदुओं का एक ही देश है, भारत देश, तो भारत की सरकार को इसका संज्ञान लेना पड़ेगा, कुछ करना पड़ेगा। कुछ कर भी रहे होंगे, कुछ बातें बताई जाती है, कुछ बताई नहीं जा सकती। परिणाम कभी होते कभी नहीं होते, लेकिन करना तो पड़ेगा। और इधर हम लोगों को संगठित होके समाज के नाते पक्का खड़ा रहना पड़ेगा। एक संघ हिंदू समाज अगर खड़ा होता है तो बंगाल में परिस्थिति बदलने के लिए कोई समय लगेगा नहीं। अब रही बात आखिरी प्रश्न की, राजनीतिक परिवर्तन के आपके क्या विचार है, तो मैं आपको फिर एक बार बताना चाहता हूं कि राजनीतिक परिवर्तन के बारे में सोचना मेरा काम नहीं है। हम समाज परिवर्तन का सोच के संघ का काम कर रहे हैं। परिवर्तित समाज क्या करना क्या नहीं करना इसका योग्य निर्णय लेगा, इसके बारे में मेरे मन में कोई दो राय नहीं है। वो समाज यानी मतदाता जो है उनको विचार करना है, तो क्या उपयुक्त है वो आप करिए।
Breaking news now coming in, and this is in regard with Republic Save Aravali campaign, where it has resonated, so much so that it is Bhupendra Yadav, the minister, the environment minister of India, who has now given out a statement on Aravali, saying that he has urged citizens to stop spreading misinformation on Aravali, saying that there's only 0.19% of the Aravali range that will have to be used for mining and the rest stays intact. However, there are concerns that has been raised by the experts. In fact, Bhupendra Yadav, the Union Minister, the Environment Minister, has also gone ahead to say that there is no need to spread misinformation and that the Aravalis are protected. However, no clarity has now been given on what he has to say on the protests that are taking place so far in the Aravalis range, on what is the redefinition that has been approved by the Supreme Court that the centre had issued, and why was this step even taken. No clarity on that. However, this is a fresh statement that has been issued by Bhupendra Yadav, the Environment Minister. Let's listen into that full statement that he has to say on the Save Aravalis campaign.
अरावली में कोई भी रिलैक्सेशन नहीं दिया गया है, पहली बात। अरावली भारत के 4 राज्यों में है, दिल्ली, राजस्थान, हरियाणा और गुजरात। टोटल अरावली 39 डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स में है। अरावली की पिटीशन 1985 से चल रही है। इस पिटीशन में चलने के बाद अरावली में माइनिंग के स्ट्रिक्ट नियम होने चाहिए, इसके हम भी पूरी तरीके से समर्थन करते हैं। सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने चारों राज्यों को कहा कि अरावली की सेम डेफिनेशन होनी चाहिए। सेम डेफिनेशन में 100 मीटर को, जो कि 1968 का जो जियोलॉजी का स्टडी है रिचर्ड मॉर्फी, उसके कारण है। कुछ यूट्यूब चैनल ने और कुछ लोगों ने एक कंफ्यूजन खड़ा कर दिया कि 100 मीटर का अर्थ होगा टॉप के 100 मीटर। ऐसा नहीं है। उसका जो बेस स्ट्रक्चर है, जो पर्वत का बेस स्ट्रक्चर है, अगर वो जमीन के अंदर भी 20 मीटर है, वहां से लेके 100 मीटर तक प्रोटेक्शन है। तो जो 100 मीटर का प्रोटेक्शन है, जो लोगों ने कंफ्यूजन करा है कि मतलब ऊपर का 100 मीटर है, नीचे खुदाई कर सकेंगे, वो नहीं है। मैं आपको फिर क्लियर कर रहा हूं। 100 मीटर का अर्थ है टॉप 100 मीटर से बॉटम के अंदर तक जो उसका पूरा फैलाव है। पहाड़ी तो ऐसे होती है, तो उसका बॉटम तो बड़ा होता है। जहां तक उसका बॉटम जाएगा वहां से लेके 100 मीटर तक प्रोटेक्शन है। और अगर एक पहाड़ी और दूसरी पहाड़ी के बीच में 500 मीटर का ही गैप है, तो वो जमीन भी अरावली रेंज मानी जाएगी। इस डेफिनेशन के आने के बाद 90% से ज्यादा एरिया प्रोटेक्टेड एरिया में आ गया। 90% से ज्यादा। मेरा ये स्टेटमेंट लिख लीजिए, टोटल अरावली का एरिया 1,47,000 स्क्वायर किलोमीटर है। इसके बाद केवल अभी की जो मेरे पास 39 डिस्ट्रिक्ट है, केवल 217 किलोमीटर, मतलब 2% में ही माइनिंग हो सकती है, और वो भी हर तरीके से नहीं हो सकती। उसके लिए भी सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने डायरेक्शन दिया है कि आपने जैसे सारंडा और झारखंड में एक पूरा पहले माइनिंग प्लान बनाया है, वो प्लान तैयार करिए। वो प्लान तैयार करने के बाद भी ICFR जो इंस्टीट्यूशन है उसकी परमिशन होगी, उसके बाद ही परमिशन मिलेगी। दिल्ली में कोई भी माइनिंग अलाउ ही नहीं है, ना होगी। मैं फिर दोहरा रहा हूं, दिल्ली के अरावली हिल्स में माइंस पूरी तरीके से बैन है। अरावली में लगभग 20 से ज्यादा फॉरेस्ट रिजर्व प्रोटेक्टेड एरिया वो एज इट इज रहेंगे। तो रिजर्व एरिया, प्रोटेक्टेड एरिया, इवन 100 मीटर भी पहले क्या होता था, जो लोगों ने करा था कि टॉप को छोड़ के नीचे खुदाई करते थे, तो वो एक तरीके से उसके चारों तरफ करते थे। अब वो भी नहीं कर सकेंगे। तो मुझे लगता है सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने जो निर्णय दिया है, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एनवायरमेंट, सर्वे ऑफ इंडिया, जियोलॉजिकल सर्वे ऑफ इंडिया, और जियोलॉजिकल सर्वे ऑफ इंडिया में जो इंटरनेशनल स्टैंडर्ड है रिचर्ड मॉर्फी, उसको दिया है। उसके बाद भी मामला सुप्रीम कोर्ट में है। हम पूरी तरीके से सहयोग करने के लिए तैयार हैं। पिछले 2 साल से लगातार स्वयं प्रधानमंत्री जी ने अरावली में वृक्षारोपण किया है। ये सरकार पिछले 2 साल से ग्रीन अरावली का मूवमेंट चला रही है। मैंने खुद ने पिछले दिनों उदयपुर में सारे DFOs की, मतलब चारों जिलों के 39 DFO की मीटिंग करी है। हम हर डिस्ट्रिक्ट में अरावली की नेटिव स्पीशीज का एक नर्सरी लगा रहे हैं। हम ग्रीन अरावली के लिए प्रतिबद्ध हैं। ये एक झूठ फैलाया जा रहा है। और सबसे बड़ी बात है कि ये जो रिपोर्ट है, ये 2006 से राजस्थान में ऑलरेडी लागू है। इसमें कुछ भी एडिशन नहीं किया गया, बल्कि अरावली के टॉप से लेके और जमीन तक, मतलब जमीन से पूरा ऊपर 100 जो स्ट्रक्चर है, वो सारा प्रोटेक्टेड की श्रेणी में आता है।
All right, joining us live is my colleague Shambhavi, who is reporting from the Aravali. Shambhavi, you had been there in the Aravali's range for quite some time now, almost 3 to 4 days. I want to know from you, what is the ground reality there? Because the minister says, the environment minister himself says, that there's only 0.19% of the Aravali hills that will be used for mining, and that it is not a cause of concern, and rest of the Aravali range is protected. But I'm sure, like you were there on the ground, you had shown how mining was there, be it broad daylight or be it at night as well. What are the protesters saying there? Because if the people are protesting, it is for a reason. If the people are against the mining, it is for a reason. But the environment minister says that there is misinformation that is being spread and that there is no harm that is being caused to the Aravalis if 0.19% of the range is being used for mining.
Well, when we talk about the protesters explaining or saying how they are being affected by the whole scene here, is that one thing we have found common between all of this is every villager, every village that we have been with, been there, every villager has been saying that what they're doing is they're actually doing illegal activity under the garb of legal activity. This has been a common stance for everyone, for every villager that we've been with. Apart from the fact, when it comes to mining site and what percentage of Aravali is being used, at least we have visited around 6 to 8 villages till now, and on an average every village is surrounded by at least 6 mining sites. That is what has happened till now, about what we have covered, and we will be covering many more. And there are other activities. One thing that we have seen is not following the minimum distance between a residential area and a mining area, because we have seen crushers, we have seen mining sites just merely 40 feet away from residential area. And we also showed our viewers during several lives, we can touch the leaves, we can touch the trees, we can touch the bicycle there, the flats there, all of them, they're covered with at least 1 to 2 inch deep cement that is permanently deposited. The structural damage to each and every house of most of these villages. There are huge cracks in the foundation. The people telling that because of the deep hole blasting, because of the high impact deep hole blasting happening so close to the residential area without following the minimum required distance between a habitable area and a mining area, without following that, there are cracks in the structures. Even yesterday, we were at Lalabandi village in Alwar, and we saw that there was this new water tank which was made, which costed around 1.20 crore rupees, which haven't even been used once, because just a few days after it was made, its foundation, the very foundation of all the 6 pillars which was holding the water tank, it had huge cracks. It shook because of the high impact deep hole blasting, because the deep hole blasting was happening just a few meters away without following the minimum distance. So this is the ground reality. This is what Republic has been showing its viewers and will continue to show as we cover the entire Aravali range. Back to you.
Absolutely, Shambhavi. In fact, when we talk about the people there, like you were saying, that every people who's there in all the residents of the Aravali range, they have faced issues, and these are the kind of voices of the minister that the government must hear, because these are the people on ground who are raising their issues on what kind of problems they are facing. But keeping in mind about the issue of the residents, because this is a people's issue, this is not about saving somebody, it is about saving a whole village. Aravalis have a history of nearly 2 billion old, and we are destroying history, we are destroying people's home there. What is the next course of action that the people are mulling there? Because the Supreme Court, like I said, has already given their verdict. So are they willing to knock the Supreme Court's doors again, or are they willing to file a petition? What is the next course of action that's going to be taken?
Well, they definitely are. They're not only willing. Every village that I've been to, they are showing me papers. They have filed several RTIs, not just one, not just 2, 3, 4, 5 RTIs, that all of them they've filed just to seek some answers. Why, with that, on the basis of what legal legality are these people running mines in Aravali Hills near so close to their homes? Or what are the other requirements which they clearly were showing us that, see, these are the requirements which are required, but these mining these mining companies or these crushers, they're not fulfilling them. Then we want answers, ma'am, that how have they been given a license? Why is their lease not being revoked or not being suspended for that matter? So let them actually come. And they also filed a petition in the Supreme Court asking to reconsider this decision. So they've not only done this right now, there were several RTIs that we have seen that were filed years ago, because this entire thing that we are covering right now, it predates this new decision. It predates this new acceptance of this new definition of Aravali Hills.
Right.
The people have definitely come on the roads. The people are definitely protesting, and they're looking to find a recourse for this entire scene. Back to you.
Right, Shambhavi, thank you very much for keeping us updated with that story. Ladies and gentlemen, we got you what the centre had to say. Let's now tell you what the state government of Rajasthan has to say. This is Rajasthan State Finance Commission Chairman Arun Chaturvedi, who's spoken on the issue. Listen into what is Rajasthan State's take on this issue.
पिछले दिनों राजस्थान के पूर्व मुख्यमंत्री अशोक गहलोत जी ने 100 मीटर के दायरे में माइनिंग की अनुमति के विषय के ऊपर ट्वीट करके इस न्यायिक प्रक्रिया के विषय को राजनीतिक चर्चा का विषय बनाने का काम किया। मुझे बड़ा आश्चर्य होता है कि खुद गहलोत जी ने 2002 में जब वो मुख्यमंत्री थे, उनकी सरकार थी, तब इस विषय के ऊपर सहमति देने का काम किया था। आज उसी विषय को वो फिर एक बार खड़ा करके ठंडे पानी में पत्थर मार करके उछालने का काम कर रहे हैं। हम सब जानते हैं कि वर्तमान केंद्र की सरकार और राजस्थान की सरकार, उन्होंने लगातार अरावली के क्षेत्र को प्रोटेक्शन के लिए लगातार काम किए। सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने किसी प्रकार का आदेश अभी तक नहीं दिया है। केंद्र सरकार को इस विषय को लेकर के एक विस्तृत कार्य योजना बना करके पेश करने का है। उससे पहले इस प्रकार के विषय को खड़ा करके राजनीति करने का किसी प्रकार का स्थान नहीं। इसलिए सरकार खुद संवेदनशील है, इस विषय को जानती है, महत्ता को जानती है। अरावली का हम सब के जीवन में बहुत बड़ा महत्व है। उसका संरक्षण, प्रोटेक्शन, प्रिजर्वेशन, उस विषय के ऊपर लगातार काम करें।
All right, from Rajasthan, let's now tell you what's happening in the state of Karnataka. The Karnataka Congress power tussle has only deepened as leadership change buzz has grown within the ruling Congress. In a surprise move, DK Shivakumar met with former Minister KN Rajanna at a private guest house in Bengaluru, and this happened today. The closed-door talks have fueled speculation about a possible shift in dynamics within the party. Rajanna, remember, has previously opposed DK Shivakumar's rise in the party. So does this mean then the closed-door meeting could result in a new change in the chief ministerial position in Karnataka? Here's the report on that.
As the tussle for CM post rages on in Karnataka, Siddaramaya's close aide KN Rajanna's meeting with Deputy Chief Minister DK Shivakumar has created quite a stir. The buzz is all about a possible shift in Karnataka's top post, with the state budget looming. DK Shivakumar's meeting with Rajanna, who has backed Siddaramaya, has added fuel to the fire. Deputy CM DK Shivakumar has maintained that he met Siddaramaya's close aide Rajanna out of friendship and party work. On the other hand, reacting to the visit, KN Rajanna said that DK Shivakumar had met him as the party president. Siddaramaya's aide Rajanna made it clear that there will be no change in his stance. No matter what DK Shivakumar tries, he will continue to support CM Siddaramaya.
ಸಿದ್ದರಾಮಯ್ಯನವರು ಹೇಳಿದಾರಲ್ಲ, ಪದೇ ಪದೇ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ನಾನು ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿ ಇರ್ತೀನಿ, ಎಲ್ಲಿನವರೆಗೂ ಹೈಕಮಾಂಡ್ನವ್ರು ಇರಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ ಇರ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಸೇಮ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್. ಈಗಲೂ ಅದೇ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್. ನಾನು ಇವಾಗಲೂ ಸಿದ್ದರಾಮಯ್ಯನವ್ರ ಪರಾನೆ. ಡಿ ಕೆ ಶಿವಕುಮಾರ್ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಅವ್ರು ಏನೇ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡಿ, ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀನಲ್ಲ, ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ಹಿಂದೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಗೂ ಈವನ್ ಟುಡೇ ಐ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಬೈ ದಟ್. ದರ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋ ಚೇಂಜ್.
The drama unfolds as DK Shivakumar insists an agreement on the leadership change exists, while Siddaramaya continues to be in the denial mode. Meanwhile, Karnataka Home Minister Dr. G. Parmeshwara urged the High Command to resolve the crisis before the budget.
ನಾವು ಈಗ ಬಡ್ಜೆಟ್ ಹತ್ರ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಆದಷ್ಟು ಬೇಗ
ಈ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬಗೆಹರಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಾವು ಬಡ್ಜೆಟನ್ನು ರಾಜ್ಯದ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿಯ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಿಂದ ಬಡ್ಜೆಟನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಮುಂದೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡೋದು ಒಳ್ಳೆಯದು ಅಂತ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಹೈಕಮಾಂಡ್ನವರು ಆದಷ್ಟು ಬೇಗ ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ತಿಳಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಯಾವುದೂ ಗೊಂದಲ ಇರಬಾರ್ದು. ಈಗೇನು ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಅವರೊಂದು ಹೇಳಿಕೆ ಇವರೊಂದು ಹೇಳಿಕೆ ಈ ರೀತಿಗಳು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾವೆ. ಅವು ಯಾವುವೂ ಕೂಡ ಬರದ ಹಾಗೆ ಬಡ್ಜೆಟನ್ನು ತೀರ್ಮಾನ ಮಾಡಿ ನಾವೇನು ಜನಗಳಿಗೆ ಪ್ರಾಮಿಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ ಆ ಪ್ರಾಮಿಸ್ ಫುಲ್ಫಿಲ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕ್ರಮ ತಗೋಬೇಕು.
The infighting has raised concerns over Congress's prospects in Karnataka. With MLAs weighing in, the party's next move could decide the state's political future.
And moving on, Raukara police have now busted a massive fake lottery syndicate. 4 men have been arrested. Over rupees 25 lakh cash has now been seized and a full counterfeit ticket printing setup is recovered. Here's the story.
In a major crackdown, Rourkela police have busted a fake lottery racket operating under Planside police station limits. Acting on a tip-off, multiple raids were carried out across the city on December 20th. Police recovered counterfeit lottery tickets, incriminating material and rupees 25,37,260 rupees in cash. The accused were manufacturing fake lottery tickets and distributing them through agents across Rourkela. 4 men have been arrested in the case. Police seized 8 mobile phones, 5 notebooks, a desktop computer, printer and other material used to print the fake tickets. A case has been registered under sections of the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita and Lotteries Regulation Act. The police are now tracking other members of the network and probing the full extent of the racket.
Coming in, a high alert has been issued in Jammu and Kashmir as police has recovered a telescope of assault rifle in Jammu. The recovery has been made in an area that is close to the NIA headquarters. Extremely tense situation there that's beginning to creep in Jammu. A high alert has been issued, and amid that, Jammu and Kashmir police had recovered a telescope of assault rifle in Jammu. The recovery has been made in an area that is close to NIA headquarters. Chinese manufacturer telescope has been recovered. We learned the telescope has now been recovered by Jammu and Kashmir police. The senior police officials have now rushed to the spot to investigate the case. Gursimran is joining us live on the broadcast from Jammu on that. Gursimran, this is a big story that's come to fore. An assault rifle has been recovered. We learned that it is Chinese made. What is the investigation proving so far in the case? Where was it recovered from and who does it belong to?
See, it's a couple of minutes ago that a recovery has been made. This is a telescope of an assault rifle that has been recovered from the Sidra area. And this is very close to the NIA headquarters and the headquarters of the security wing of Jammu and Kashmir police, because here you will see that it is exactly on the opposite side that the recovery has been made. These are the headquarters of the security in Jammu and also the NIA headquarters. They are at a distance of roughly 500 to 700 meters from each other, from where the recovery has been made. We are told that the team from the Sidra police station and the Nagrota police, they have made this recovery, and this what it seems for now that this was a telescope, a Chinese made telescope that has been recovered from the area very close to the NIA headquarters. So what it was doing there, that is being probed, but due to the alertness of the Jammu and Kashmir police, this has been recovered, and now the senior officials have also rushed to the spot, that is to the Sidra police post, so that they can actually look into what this telescope was and how it was to be used, because usually the telescope is used to enhance the firing area of this weapon so that they can have a clear shot at the target. This has been recovered. It is yet to be actually seen that whether this was another recovery has also been made or whether it was a standalone recovery that has been done, because we are yet to get an official word from the Jammu and Kashmir police. But what we are picking up from our sources, that the Sidra police has done this recovery very close to the NIA headquarters in Jammu. This telescope has been recovered and it enhances the visibility of the shooter by 300 to 500 meters. That is what we have got to know after speaking to those who actually deal with these kind of telescopes. So this recovery is really very concerning, and that too coming at a time when the entire country, especially Jammu and Kashmir, has been placed on the high alert amid regular threats from across the border, and the input suggesting a possible terror strike on the eve of New Year, in which the planning has already been done, and the Lashkar groups are already waiting to sneak in into the Indian territory. So now this recovery has been made, and as we speak, the senior officials are rushing to the spot.
Right, Gursimran, like you said, this was a Chinese manufactured rifle, and you said that there are imprints of Pakistani terrorists also that could have been involved. So can we then say that this was a Pakistan-China nexus who were trying to infiltrate and cross our territory?
See, with specific to this case, it will be too early to say that whether it was a terror plot or how this thing has come to this very place. No doubt this is a security concern, but since the investigation is in too early stage to comment, because we had tried to speak to the senior officials in the Jammu police also, but at present they are not in a position to share anything with regards to this recovery. Yes, a telescope has been recovered, and this was a Chinese telescope from a Chinese manufacturer. These are the roughly details that we have been able to gather so far, but now it is, since this is a matter of investigation, and thus includes recovery from very crucial areas. So this is from the NIA headquarters and close to the security headquarters in Jammu. So every angle is being looked into, and how this got into this very place, that is worked upon by the police.
Right, thank you very much, Gursimran, for getting us those details. Quickly moving across to all the other stories that we're tracking. This is Bharat in 1 minute. A wanted criminal with a bounty of rupees 50,000 on his head was killed in a police encounter. During patrolling, police tried to stop two men on the motorcycle. The men opened then fire on the police party. In counter-firing, one of the criminals got shot. National capital has woken up to thick blanket of toxic smog, reducing visibility and causing discomfort to residents across the city. Several parts of the city experienced a dense haze, with pollution levels remaining alarmingly high. 4 criminals were injured and 1 accused was arrested following a police operation in Ballia after the suspects opened fire at the police. Police has now informed that a detailed investigation is ongoing and a strict legal action will be taken against all those individuals involved in the crime. All right, with that, it's time for us to slip into our short break. But after the break, getting you that exclusive interview where the Epstein Files survivor has now spoken to Republic, giving out all the details. Getting you that exclusive interview coming up after a short break.
Our pure Shahi Paneer Masala. Delicious, healthy, every day.
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे केसरिया से मन जोगी
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
We are willing to put an end to this conflict via peaceful means based on the principles that I outlined in July last year when I spoke at the Foreign Ministry of Russia.
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
झुमका, तेरा झुमका, तेरा झुमका। Not there, मेरा काउंटर टॉप टूट जाएगा। तेरा झुमका। मेरी चिमनी टूट जाएगी. What are you doing?
रानी, इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं.
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा. रुंगटा स्टील TMT से बना.
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं. रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, ये तो है इसकी खास बात.
वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है.
अरे मेरे राजा,
मसाला केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे. केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ.
हर पल बनाओ केसरी त्योहार. विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी.
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला. स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार. MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला. MDH.
We just now felt this entire mountain shiver because there are blasts.
Ladies and gentlemen, for years, the name Jeffrey Epstein has been a chilling symbol of unchecked power and unimaginable trauma. He was a man who preyed on thousands of vulnerable young women. He trafficked them under the guise of opportunity, and all of this while being surrounded by some of the world's most influential figures. His crimes didn't just happen in isolation. They shattered lives, they silenced voices, and they left scores of families searching for justice that often felt out of reach. But viewers, the good thing is, beyond every headline, there are brave individuals who have endured the unthinkable, but now they are reclaiming their stories. Joining me today is one such young woman who has experienced this pain firsthand. I'm very happy to welcome Marina Licata, who joins us live from the United States. Marina, thank you so much for speaking with Republic Media Network.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. My first question to you is, what has made you go public with your story?
Well, when I first broke my silence in September, which was, I have to say, one of the toughest things, it was definitely in behalf for my survivor sisters, especially Virginia Guffrey, who's no longer here with us, and of course my daughter, who we have to, keep on representing our culture and our generation nowadays.
Right. Marina, first up, I would like to take you back to the past, but to your early childhood days. I believe you were born in Brazil, and then you moved to New York soon after with your mother and your sister. Take us back to your childhood days. What were the early days in New York like for you?
Well, my early days in New York were, in the beginning when I first moved to New York and when I was 8 years old, things were very different than what it was when I was in Brazil. Within about 2 to 3 months when I moved to New York, my stepfather started to sexually abuse me, and that sexual abuse endured until I was 12 years old. And then right after, when I was 14, I met Jeffrey Epstein.
So you had to undergo abuse by your stepfather, and was your mother and were your sisters witness to it?
My mother did not know the beginning that my stepfather was abusing me. She did, however, found out when I was about 10 or 10 and a half. But with complications of being an immigrant and being scared financial-wise, being alone and a woman in New York, she never protected me and never went to the police, but somebody else did help me. And we did go to the police, and my stepfather was arrested when I was 12 years old.
Okay. Did you and your family have to undergo any sort of financial struggles when you were living in New York during your early days, especially at the time when your stepfather was arrested?
I couldn't hear the beginning. I'm sorry, you're breaking up.
Marina, if you can hear me, I was just asking, did you and your family have to undergo financial struggles? Were there hard days when your stepfather was arrested?
Yes, there were a lot of struggles. And I think in the beginning I was juggling between, working some, regular jobs. But what people sometimes misunderstand is that when you're an immigrant and you come from another country and you don't have a Social Security in America, you do not get paid what you're supposed to get paid. Not only that, I was 12 years old, 13 years old, 14, 15, 16, working at these places where they did not pay me correctly. And this is how I ended up in Jeffrey Epstein's hand at 14.
Okay, so you were 14 when you first met Jeffrey Epstein. I want you to describe for us, how did that first meeting go, and who is it that first introduced you to Jeffrey Epstein?
When I first met Jeffrey Epstein was through a Jane Doe who we cannot name. She is from Brazil as well, and everybody that lived in Astoria, Queens, and New York knew that I was going through this very hard time. And I think it was very easy for her to bring me to Jeffrey Epstein's house. And when I did go there, it was something that she explained to me in the beginning that it was something else, and then it ended up being something completely different. And she groomed me, he groomed me even more. I was in a very vulnerable state, and it ended up being really bad in the end.
Marina, not going into too many details, but I would like you to elaborate a bit, as much as you are comfortable with. If you can describe for us and for our audience, what happened when you walked into the Jeffrey Epstein household for the first time? You mentioned you were 14 years old. Do take us through, if you can just describe that day for us.
So that day that I went there, as being a young child at the time, it just seemed all very wow when you walk in. And, first when you reach to the door, you see this beautiful, huge door. It's a mansion in Manhattan, which, being 12 at the time, I didn't even know there were mansions that big in Manhattan. Walking through, this huge door and, the girl rang the doorbell. The maid approached the door, opened up the door for us. And when we walked in, I was so amazed and so wowed with how big and wealthy looking the house was. And we waited in the office, waiting room is what I like to say, and in the left-hand side of the house when you walk in. And on the right-hand side, later on I found out it was his camera room where he had all his videotaping going on throughout the house. And when we waited in the waiting room, I was so amazed by how many pictures, how many celebrities, how many politicians he had on his, bureau with all these, elite people. And at the time, being so young and being an immigrant, I did not know who everybody was. And the maid came back to get us, and we went to the elevator. And when we went up to the third floor, it opened up to the doors of a hallway which led into a massage room. And in that massage room, it was completely dark. Blackout shades. I mean, there was no windows because they were blacked out. And on the roof, on the ceiling of this massage room, they had these clouds as kind of to ease in and to make you comfortable. And in this room, he had a huge, bureau of all these lotions and, massage oils. And when we walked in, he asked for a massage, which I knew that was what I was going there for. And he asked me to do certain things that I was not expected to do. And those things were made me feel very uncomfortable. However, being in a situation where I was and being abused in the past, it made me very, very scared. I was not only sexually abused by my stepfather, it also became physical. And I got very scared at the time, and I ended up being manipulated into doing stuff that I didn't want to do. And it progressed into something very, very big at the time, very slowly, but it progressed something to be, rape at the end.
Okay. Who else was there at the time with you, Marina? Was it just the two of you? And did you ever get a chance to meet his very close associate who's been frequently named in this case, that is Ghislaine Maxwell?
In the beginning, it was just her and I. And I would say about a year and a half later, yes, I had encountered with Ghislaine Maxwell. We had a one-time encounter, and that is from what I remember.
And How many years of abuse did you have to endure from Jeffrey Epstein, if I may ask that very directly to you?
It started at the age of 14 and it ended in the age of 17 and a half, I'd say.
Okay, so that's about 3.5 years. And over the course of these 3.5 years, Marina, how many other such women did you meet at the Epstein household?
Many women, and I did not think they were getting abused. I thought, maybe Epstein was having, he always mentioned stuff about Victoria's Secret and, him having students. And I really thought it was just meetings that he was having with these young girls. And being young, I didn't know how old they were. And unfortunately, there were many, many girls that walked in through those doors. I must have seen at least over 100 girls just walking in and out of there.
What was the age of the youngest victim that you met at the Epstein household?
I have to say, I think I might have been the youngest one to know that I was young. I don't know personally anybody else younger than me. I'm pretty sure there was, but I did not get to meet them.
Okay. And Marina, I want to understand from you, the first time that you met the man, how was he like to have a conversation with? Because if somebody is, it's human nature. If somebody is, if his nature is very predatory, it is but our natural instinct to have our guards up. But when you walked into the household, did you feel any sort of discomfort? How was he like to speak to in person initially?
When he first met me, he was very kind. He was very polite. I did not think that it was going to progress to a point where he made sure that he owned everybody, including the government, including the president, including the banks. It was something in the beginning that I thought he was very kind. And then it became very quickly where I was owned by Jeffrey Epstein. And if we did not abide to his rules, there were certain, repercussions that we knew we were going to face. And he made sure that he would let us know about that.
Right. And Marina, at any point did you gather any sense that he was going to introduce you and many other victims and survivors like you to any of his other high-profile associates or friends, if I may use that term?
So, myself, he never told me he was going to introduce myself to any of his friends, but he did talk to a lot of high-profile people, Hollywood stars, politicians. And when he used to get massages, when I was there, he used to talk to them, a lot of them, and I will not name them, and he used to put us on the phone with them as well and brag that he was getting a massage by a nice young girl. And he would brag, and he would put us on the phone with them, and he would say, "Hey, how are you?" And I'm like, "I'm good. We're here with Jeffrey," and that was basically it. But I never, I got to meet a few people, but I've never been abused by any of them, so I can't say any of that for myself.
Okay. And back home, back at home, Marina, for you, was your mother or any of your close confidants aware of what was unfolding at the Epstein household?
No, nobody knew. Family-wise, nobody knew. I think there was a lack of, protection and maybe motherhood from my mom. And I think when we were going through so many things, I don't think she really, I think her focus was more that my stepfather went to jail and we needed money. And I was bringing in a lot of money at the time, also having 2 jobs and seeing Jeffrey Epstein, which she did not know. And I don't think in her mind it crossed or even to ask where I was getting the money from. It was just more, here's the money, the bills are getting paid, everybody seems happy, my sister's taken care of, I'm taken care of, my mother's taken care of, the bills are taken care of, we have food. And I just think her motherly duties were not presented at the time.
Okay. And you mentioned that, you encountered him till about when you were 17 and a half years old. How were you able to pull out of that situation?
It's not that I was able to pull out of it. Jeffrey Epstein was very upset when at the time, he seen that I was no longer a young, vulnerable girl, and I could no longer put on a act and, be his fun girl, is what he would like to say, or his good girl. And he quickly became very tired of me at that age. And my friends who also used to go there were at that age, and it was just no longer for us. We were no longer fun for him, and he quickly, booted us out and said, hey, you guys are getting kind of old and you're no fun, and I just really we're just not clicking anymore. And that's when our relationship ended.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Marina. That was very elaborate. But bringing you now to the present day and the entire controversy that's currently surrounding the Department of Justice, I want to know, what is it that you have to say from a survivor's perspective of the 300,000-page document that has now been released?
I have a lot to say of those 300,000 pages that are very repetitive. When we start to go into it, and it is redacted heavily. It is a slap not only in our faces, the survivors, but also in the public's eyes. The whole world has been waiting for today, and for yesterday, right? December 19th. And, when these files came out and everybody's digging through them, everyone's like, what is going on here? There is nothing to see here. And then all the other distractions that President Trump did, he put his name in the Kennedy Center. He's bombing other places. It is too much things going on for us to worry about where his name is going, what he's doing to other countries, which is completely unfair to us and to the public. It is very sad to say. All the survivors are very disappointed. We are very angry. We're full of anxiety. We're full of emotions. We've been waiting for this day to come. And not only does he release files that already have been released, but he releases files fully redacted, protecting the elite, powerful men who are his friends, including himself. It is said and it is proven that his pictures were on Jeffrey Epstein's desk. And now when we go back to look at those pictures, those files are missing completely. It is what I like to say a circus show at this point. And it is something that President Trump and the DOJ has created. And we are going to find a way to end that, because as survivors, we will continue to fight not only for ourselves, but for this generation and the next generation to protect them.
Well, exactly, Marina, because that is something that I was going to come to next. One of the arguments that is now being put out by the House of Democrats is that a lot of the photographs which had President Trump on it, him being pictured with other high-profile names, and of course with Jeffrey Epstein, were released initially, but now they have suddenly gone missing from off records. So do you believe that there has been a consolidated attempt from the Department of Justice to cover this up?
Here in America, it is gone viral with that situation. He can try, DOJ, Pan Bondi, we don't know who is doing it. They can try to cover it up, but we know, and Instagram, TikTok, it is everywhere. People have caught the pictures. They have it on their on their saved photos, and there's nothing they can do now. And we know by the emails that there is a lot of people involved that he could try to hide, but it is not going to happen. We are going to bring this to light, and it is up to the public also to believe this. These pictures were there. They were there. They were taken away from the archives, and now it has disappeared, but we have saved them, and we will continue to post them on the internet, and it will continue to go viral.
Why do you think, Marina, President Trump has been shielded from this? Do you believe that there is political motive, or is it just to save image of the Trump administration? What do you have to say on that?
I have to say, we don't care about anything about this political game and this political battleground that he has created. In the beginning, we were upset, and we were like, oh my God, this became a Democratic Party, a Republican Party. And now in the end, being around both parties, they both have come together. And it is no longer a political battleground. He can say that it is a Democratic hoax, and he can say that we are a hoax, and he can say whatever he wants. But at the end of the day, we as survivors have been around both parties. It is no longer a political battleground. They've come together. We've seen the women Democratic and Republican caucus come together. What is something that we do not see when we see the House committee? They're always arguing, right? Like if you watch them, they're constantly going back and forth. This is the first time that these women have come together in one room and have been wanting to work together against this. And it is not only because of our abuse today, it is to save all the women who are going through abuse and who have gone through past abuse. This is why this was such an important movement. And of course it is that we want to get the files out there, but we want to make change for the future.
Right. So, Marina, is it safe to say that we've just hit the tip of the iceberg as far as the release of the Epstein Files is concerned?
You know, it's hard to say. It's really hard to say. We might have been hit the tip of the iceberg, but we hope that the next batch of files that come out, because we're always hopeful, you know, and some of these files, you know, like the important information that came out from Annie Farmer, which she has been saying for years, you know, from Maria Farmer, they have gone to the FBI in 1996. She has been going on live television telling everybody this. Nobody has believed her. And today or yesterday, people are so surprised by this. And we're like, wait a minute, did you think the survivor was making this serious accusation and not being honest about it? And if you didn't think she was honest about it, why didn't anybody investigate this sooner? Did we have to let the DOJ come out with this and then everybody's like so surprised about it? So at least some good things came out from this. And I'm glad to say that my survivor sister today is so proud and so happy that this has come to light. But it is also very, very another slap in the face, another move that, you know, the DOJ and the President Trump has disrespected us to not believe us for, you know, especially her who has been saying this and has vocalized this for a very long time. Yeah. So, you know, we are happy at the same time, but we are very disappointed. We are very angry with these files, and we will continue to fight. Nobody will stop us.
Right. My final question to you, Marina, is in terms of next course of action, as you were correctly mentioning, what is it that the survivor community is hoping from the government, from the DOJ, in providing complete closure to all the victims of Jeffrey Epstein?
You know, we have been going through, you know, myself, you know, for the past 2 days, I've been trying really hard to go through all these files and trying to put in some keywords. And we're very disappointed to say the least is all we asked was to redact our names. And that was not done. The DOJ, the justice system has failed us once again here. And they have, you know, disrespected all the victims that were leaked. And then not to redact the names that they were supposed to redact is another slap on the face. So we ask for the DOJ and whoever's in charge of this, because we no longer know who's in charge of this, because we think President Trump is in charge of this, but we know he's not redacting this, somebody's doing it for him. And then we think Pam Bondi is doing this, but we know somebody else is doing this. And we think Kash Patel is doing this, but then we know somebody's under him. So we ask whoever's in charge of this, please do your job right. Please look at us not as grown women, adult women, but look at us when we were children and we went through this. This is something very serious. We have these files out there with unredacted victims' names. It is absurd. They need to redact our names, and they need to unredact these powerful elite men who will continue to be a predator if we don't stop them.
Absolutely. Marina, we echo your sentiments over there, and we really do appreciate you coming out there, speaking your story, sharing your experience with the world, knowing that how difficult it might have been for you and for women like you at such a young age, and how triggering it may be, if I may use that word. But thank you so much for taking out the time and for speaking to Republic Media Network and sharing your story. We hope that your fight continues and reaches its logical conclusion. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, and I really, really appreciate it. Protect your peace. Thank you.
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ,
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
We are willing to put an end to this conflict via peaceful means based on the principles that I outlined in July last year when I spoke at the Foreign Ministry of Russia.
Putin squarely blamed Kyiv for the failure of peace negotiations, accusing Ukraine's leadership of refusing dialogue.
Statements from Zelensky that he is not prepared to discuss territory issues.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरे राजा सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
Please stop!
झुमका तेरा झुमका तेरा झुमका।
Not there. मेरा काउंटर टॉप टूट जाएगा।
तेरा झुमका।
मेरी चिमनी टूट जाएगी। What are you doing?
रानी, इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील TMT से बना।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला। सिप सिप जीरा सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ,
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
We just now felt this entire mountain shiver because there are blasts going on. As we were telling you, usually for the limestone mining, the acceptable range of the blast is around 1 meter. And that won't be so harsh that we could feel this entire mountain, feel shake. Yes, definitely. And the kind of, because for cement mining, they need a blast of a larger range of something around 50 meters or 60 meters. And when that happens,
speak on Get Me Right, 3 events that together signal a tectonic geopolitical shift in the world. The United States released its national security strategy paper. The UK, its intelligence and security report from the parliament. And amidst all this, China crossed, for the first time in world history for any nation, $1 trillion of trade surplus. And then the gas chamber that our national capital becomes every winter. Is there any hope, or are we condemned to live this forever? This weekend, Saturday and Sunday, only on Republic TV. Three events that together signal a tectonic geopolitical shift in the world. The United States released its national security strategy paper. The UK, its intelligence and security report from the parliament. And amidst all this, China crossed, for the first time in world history for any nation, $1 trillion of trade surplus. And then the gas chamber that our national capital becomes every winter. Is there any hope, or are we condemned to live this forever? This weekend, Saturday and Sunday, only on Republic TV.
Gentlemen, you're watching 6 Stories at 6 with me, Tanisha Awasthi. Let's get started with the agenda stories of the day. Starting this edition with the first top focus story that we're tracking on this edition. Ladies and gentlemen, today a closed-door meeting was held between D.K. Shivakumar and K.N. Rajanna, and this has sparked speculations yet again over the chief ministerial change in Karnataka. What is it all about? Take a look.
As the tussle for CM post rages on in Karnataka, Siddaramaya's close aide K.N. Rajanna's meeting with Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivakumar has created quite a stir. The buzz is all about a possible shift in Karnataka's top post, with the state budget looming. D.K. Shivakumar's meeting with Rajanna, who has backed Siddaramaya, has added fuel to the fire. Deputy CM D.K. Shivakumar has maintained that he met Siddaramaya's close aide Rajanna out of friendship and party work.
ಭೇಟಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ, ಸೌಹಾರ್ದತೆ ಭೇಟಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ. ಇವತ್ತು ಭೇಟಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ. ನಾನು ಮಾತಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಇವತ್ತು ಮಧ್ಯಾಹ್ನ ಗವರ್ನರ್ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೇನೆ.
On the other hand, reacting to the visit, K.N. Rajanna said that D.K. Shivakumar had met him as the party president. Siddaramaya's aide Rajanna made it clear that there will be no change in his stance. No matter what D.K. Shivakumar tries, he will continue to support CM Siddaramaya.
ಸಿದ್ದರಾಮಯ್ಯನವರು ಹೇಳಿದಾರಲ್ಲ, ಪದೇ ಪದೇ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ನಾನು ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿ ಇರ್ತೀನಿ, ಎಲ್ಲಿನವರೆಗೂ ಹೈಕಮಾಂಡ್ನವ್ರು ಇರೋಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ ಇರ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ. ಸೇಮ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್, ಈಗಲೂ ಅದೇ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್. ನಾನು ಇವಾಗಲೂ ಸಿದ್ದರಾಮಯ್ಯನವ್ರ ಪರಾನೆ.
ಡಿ ಕೆ ಶಿವಕುಮಾರ್ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು.
ಅವ್ರು ಏನೇ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡಿ, ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀನಲ್ಲ, ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ಹಿಂದೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಗೂ ಈವನ್ ಟುಡೇ ಐ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಬೈ ದಟ್. ದರ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋ ಚೇಂಜ್.
The drama unfolds as D.K. Shivakumar insists an agreement on the leadership change exists, while Siddaramaya continues to be in the denial mode. Meanwhile, Karnataka Home Minister Dr. G. Parmeshwara urged the High Command to resolve the crisis before the budget.
ನಾವು ಈಗ ಬಡ್ಜೆಟ್ ಹತ್ರ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಆದಷ್ಟು ಬೇಗ ಈ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬಗೆಹರಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಾವು ಬಡ್ಜೆಟನ್ನು ರಾಜ್ಯದ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿಯ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಿಂದ ಬಡ್ಜೆಟನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಮುಂದೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡೋದು ಒಳ್ಳೆಯದು ಅಂತ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಹೈಕಮಾಂಡ್ನವರು ಆದಷ್ಟು ಬೇಗ ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ತಿಳಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಯಾವುದೂ ಗೊಂದಲ ಇರಬಾರ್ದು. ಈಗೇನು ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಅವರೊಂದು ಹೇಳಿಕೆ ಇವರೊಂದು ಹೇಳಿಕೆ ಈ ರೀತಿಗಳು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾವೆ. ಅವು ಯಾವೂ ಕೂಡ ಬರದ ಹಾಗೆ ಬಡ್ಜೆಟನ್ನು ತೀರ್ಮಾನ ಮಾಡಿ ನಾವೇನು ಜನಗಳಿಗೆ ಪ್ರಾಮಿಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ ಆ ಪ್ರಾಮಿಸ್ ಫುಲ್ಫಿಲ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕ್ರಮ ತಗೋಬೇಕು.
The infighting has raised concerns over Congress's prospects in Karnataka. With MLAs weighing in, the party's next move could decide the state's political future.
And now from Karnataka, let's tell you what's happening in the state of Bengal. A Bengali singer, her name is Lagnijita Chakrabarti. She has alleged that she was abused and nearly assaulted during a live concert in West Bengal after she refused to change her song choice. The incident took place on Saturday at a private school in East Mednapur. Here's what happened and here's how the singer has to respond on the case.
In a controversial incident in West Bengal, popular singer Lagnijita Chakrabarti was allegedly stopped from singing the devotional song Jago Ma by local TMC leader Mehboob Malik. The confrontation took place at a private school in Bhagwanpur where Malik reportedly demanded secular songs and later even attempted to assault the artist. The singer, who rose to fame with the popular Bengali track Boshanto Eshe Geche, said that the incident occurred while she was performing the devotional song Jago Ma. Lagnijita Chakrabarti have sent a written complaint against the TMC leader and have demanded action by the Bengal police. She also alleged that TMC leader Mehboob Malik is a member of the school's governing body and tried to intimidate and beat her up on stage. The singer has also alleged that the officer in charge of the Bhagwanpur police station refused to file a case. A case has now been filed and Mehboob Malik is also in police custody. He has even claimed that Lagnijita Chakrabarti demanded extra money as there was a delay in giving her the stage for her performance. As we speak, no action has been taken against Mehboob Malik by TMC. The incident has sparked outrage among artists and cultural circles, with many calling for strict action against those who disrupt performances and threaten artistic freedom.
In Karnataka, ladies and gentlemen, a mentally challenged boy was brutally beaten and assaulted at a boarding school for children with special needs in the Navagar area of Bagalkot. The authorities have detained those responsible for the attack, why it happened and how far has the investigation reached and what does the parents of the boy have to tell the media. Here's a report on that.
A shocking and disturbing video has emerged from Bagalkot, Karnataka, showing innocent, differently abled children being brutally beaten and tortured. The victims are students at a school for differently abled children. What was supposed to be a safe space for those kids became a place of torture. The horrific video reveals a school's management, a husband-wife duo and other staff members mercilessly thrashing the helpless children with a pipe and a belt. Even as one child collapsed to the ground, pinned down by a ruthless staff member, the brutal assault showed no mercy. Beating continued. In one of the videos, the woman was seen even throwing chili powder in one of the kids' eyes. The other children, traumatized by the gruesome scene unfolding before them, were forced to sit in silence, powerless to intervene. The woman you have seen on your screens is Anandi Hindulkar, the woman who brutally threw chili powder in one of the kids' eyes. In a shocking display of callousness, the person recording the incident is heard laughing as the boy writhed in agony. One of the students' parents have filed a complaint against the couple and an FIR has been registered by the police. The police have detained the couple responsible for the attack, along with 2 others linked to the school for questioning. The incident has raised serious concerns over safety and accountability of schools, which are meant for nurturing differently abled children.
And in now news from Maharashtra, the high-stakes local body battle in Maharashtra has ended in a one-sided verdict. The ruling Mahayuti alliance has stormed ahead, with the BJP emerging as the single largest party and the clear winner of the local body elections. The results underline a strong endorsement of Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis' leadership. While the Mahavikas Aghadi has suffered a major setback with a dominant Mahayuti and a fractured opposition, the outcome sets the political tone ahead of the crucial BMC elections.
A high-stake battle between the ruling Mahayuti and Mahavikas Aghadi (MVA) in Maharashtra's local body polls became one-sided at the end. Counting has ended and the numbers tell the story. A decisive win for the Mahayuti alliance and the BJP standing tall as the single biggest winner.
मी पहिल्यांदा महाराष्ट्राच्या जनतेचे आभार मानतो की महाराष्ट्राच्या जनतेने भारतीय जनता पक्षाला आणि आमच्या महायुतीला प्रचंड मोठं समर्थन दिलेलं आहे. आपल्याला कल्पना आहे की मी यापूर्वीच भाकीत केलं होतं की एकूण जे काही नगराध्यक्ष निवडून येतील त्यापैकी 75% हे महायुतीचे निवडून येतील. तशाच प्रकारचा कौल हा महाराष्ट्राच्या जनतेने दिलेला आहे आणि विशेषतः भारतीय जनता पार्टी हाच पहिल्या क्रमांकाचा पक्ष आहे हे देखील पुन्हा एकदा या ठिकाणी अधोरेखित झालेलं आहे.
The Maharashtra local body poll results have delivered a decisive mandate in favor of the BJP. Sweeping 129 of the 288 seats, the party has emerged as the single largest force, leaving its rivals far behind. Shinde's Shiv Sena won 51 seats, while the Ajit Pawar's NCP won 35 seats. Meanwhile, Mahavikas Aghadi, who recently faced a setback after Congress dumped Uddhav Thackeray and Sharad Pawar, and was just limited to 51 seats out of 288. In which Uddhav's Shiv Sena won 9 and Sharad's NCP won just 7 seats. The numbers underscore a clear endorsement of BJP's leadership and mark a commanding show of strength across Maharashtra's civic bodies. Reacting to the results, Shiv Sena leader Eknath Shinde said the party has delivered a strong strike in the elections, calling it a big victory for the Sena.
अभी अभी चुनाव के नतीजे सामने आए हैं. इसमें शिवसेना का स्ट्राइक रेट जो है काफ़ी तगड़ा रहा है और जैसे लोकसभा में स्ट्राइक रेट था, विधानसभा में स्ट्राइक रेट था, वैसे ही ये स्थानीय जो चुनाव है नगर परिषद नगर पंचायत में शिवसेना ने बरकरार रखा है. लोगों ने शिवसेना का साथ दिया है और लाडली बहनों ने भी साथ दिया है, सब मतदाताओं ने साथ दिया है. शिवसेना कई लोग कहते थे कि शिवसेना सिर्फ ठाणे और मुंबई तक सीमित है, लेकिन अब चांदा से बांदा तक शिवसेना सभी घर घर में पहुंच गई है और शिवसेना को भारी जीत हासिल हुई है इस चुनाव में.
Meanwhile, Maharashtra Assembly Speaker Rahul Narvekar has hailed the BMC election results as a resounding endorsement of Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis' leadership.
आदरणीय मुख्यमंत्री देवेंद्र जी फडणवीस साहब के नेतृत्व में आज महाराष्ट्र में जो नगर पालिका नगर परिषद के चुनाव के निकष दिखाई दे रहे हैं, उससे ये स्पष्ट होता है कि उनका नेतृत्व पूरे महाराष्ट्र ने स्वीकारा हुआ है और उनके नेतृत्व में भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने एक अभूतपूर्व और लैंडस्लाइड विक्ट्री प्राप्त की है. इतर पार्टियों के मुकाबले डबल से भी ज़्यादा सीटों पर विजय प्राप्त की है और ये अभूतपूर्व विजय भारतीय जनता पार्टी के ऊपर महाराष्ट्र की जनता के विश्वास का प्रतीक है.
A dominant Mahayuti, a resurgent BJP, and a fractured opposition. The results signal a strong vote of confidence in the ruling alliance's leadership, setting the tone for the upcoming BMC polls.
And now moving on, tensions have reached a breaking point in Chhattisgarh's Kanker district as a dispute over a burial escalated into a full-blown violent clash between two communities. Two churches were set on fire and several police officers, including a DIG and an SP, were left injured during the chaos. The administration has now clamped down with Section 144 to prevent further escalation. What happened and how it escalated? What is the current situation on ground? Here's the detailed report on that.
Tensions erupted in Chhattisgarh's Kanker district after a disagreement over a village elder's burial sparked a violent communal standoff.
नारा लगाते हुए, चिल्लाते हुए, बुढ़ाल पेलता सेवा सेवा, ऐसा नाना प्रकार की रैली चिल्लाकर आने के बाद सीधा जो मरघट को तोड़फोड़ किए। तो जैसे मरघट को तोड़ना चालू किए, परंतु हमने एक भी शब्द कुछ नहीं कहा, परंतु इन्होंने उसके बाद उनको छोड़ के सीधा जहां हम आम पेड़ में बैठे थे वहां मारने के लिए आने के बाद हमारे लोगों को दौड़ा कर मारना चालू किए।
Alleged attempts to alter long-standing tribal burial practices ignited the fuse, culminating in a brutal clash between rival groups.
गांव में जो धर्मांतरण में ऐसे व्यक्तियों को मृत्यु होने पर जो दाह संस्कार हमारे गांव के नीति के साथ नहीं करते, इसका हमें विरोध है और इसी को हम कई बार दाह संस्कार करने नहीं दे रहे हैं। अगर हमारे समाज की रीति नीति, ग्राम की रीति नीति से अगर करते हैं तो हमें उसे कोई विरोध नहीं है, हम उसे सम्मान है, और नहीं करते तो हम काफ़ी विरोध भी कर रहे हैं और हमारे देवी देवताओं को संरक्षण और बचाना चाहते हैं।
Angry mobs targeted prayer halls and damaged private property as local police struggled to contain the mob. Top police officials, including the DIG and SP, were injured while trying to mediate between the ripped groups as stones rained down on them. In a dramatic turn, authorities exhumed the village elder's body for a post-mortem in a bid to pacify the villagers and probe the death. A massive police deployment is underway in North Bastar's tribal belt to prevent retaliatory attacks as the administration remains on high alert. While the situation is reported to be under control, surveillance has been stepped up across the district, with authorities keeping a hawk's eye on developments.
And now moving on to the story that we're tracking in this edition, Imran Khan has been hit with yet another massive setback. A Pakistan court has sentenced the former Prime Minister and his wife Bushra Bibi to 17 years in jail, each in the Toshakhana corruption case. The verdict has exploded into protest by the PTI workers out on the streets. Here's a detailed report on what's currently happening in Pakistan.
Fresh unrest has erupted in Pakistan's streets, with PTI workers protesting in Mansehra against the sentencing of former Prime Minister Imran Khan and his wife Bushra Bibi. A day earlier, a Pakistan court handed Imran Khan and Bushra Bibi 17 years in jail each in the Toshakhana corruption case. The court ruled that the couple illegally retained and sold state gifts, including expensive jewelry from the Saudi government, at prices far below the market value. The verdict was delivered from Adiala jail, where Khan is already lodged in multiple cases. The Toshakhana case has shadowed Imran Khan since 2021, with investigators alleging fraudulent declarations and illegal profits from state gifts meant for the treasury. The former PM has consistently denied wrongdoing, calling the charges fabricated and politically driven. However, this verdict has triggered fresh protests and a hardened stance by PTI workers. All eyes are now on how the party mobilizes and whether more unrest follows this explosive judgment.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of 6 Stories at 6. That's all that we could pack in this edition of the show. We will be back tomorrow, same time, with more agenda-setting news. Till then, keep watching Republic.
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।
Amity has been ranked among the top universities globally for producing the most employable graduates by the Times Higher Education UK. Yet another testimony to Amity's excellent placement record.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरे राजा,
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला। सिप सिप जीरा सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप। प्लीज स्टॉप।
झुमका तेरा झुमका, तेरा झुमका।
नॉट देयर, मेरा काउंटर टॉप टूट जाएगा।
तेरा झुमका।
मेरी चिमनी टूट जाएगी। What are you doing?
रानी, इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील TMT से बना।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी, एवरीडे।
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
We are
The Epstein Files Transparency Act's December's 19 deadline prompted the recent release of the Jeffrey Epstein Files, which disclosed a vast amount of information that connects the financer's personal life to his connections to most influential people in the world. Tens of thousands of pictures and papers are now visualizing what was once whispered in the deposition transcripts. The House Overnight Committee collected over 95,000 photos and documents from Epstein's estate, which served as a foundation for the recent revelations. Here are the Epstein Files, page number 1.
The recent release of the Jeffrey Epstein Files, triggered by the December 19, 2025 deadline of the Epstein Files Transparency Act, has unveiled a massive trove of data that bridges the gap between the financier's private life and his proximity to the world's most powerful figures. What was once whispered in deposition transcripts is now being visualized through tens of thousands of images and documents. The backbone of the recent disclosures is a collection of approximately 95,000 photographs and documents obtained from Epstein's estate by the House Oversight Committee. While the Department of Justice, DOJ, began its mandated release on December 19th, House Democrats had already begun a drip feed of these materials. The files include estate photos, high-resolution images of Epstein's properties, including his Manhattan townhouse and his private island, Little St. James. Photos of a dentist's office in his Caribbean home, BDSM equipment, and peculiar office decor, such as a chalkboard with words written on it. A commemorative book given to Epstein for his 50th birthday, containing notes and signatures from various elites. The files contain visual confirmation of several high-profile connections that have been the subject of speculation for years. One significant image features former President Bill Clinton smiling alongside Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. The photo reportedly bears Clinton's signature in gold ink, though his representatives have long maintained he knew nothing of Epstein's crimes. Photos capture Bill Gates in social settings with Epstein, including one where he is seated with the financier and the former Prince Andrew. Another photo strangely showed Gates and Andrew together with King Charles, cropped out of the original frame. In a surprising intersection of worlds, filmmaker Woody Allen is seen in multiple photos, including one where he is conversing with former Trump advisor Steve Bannon at an Epstein-related social gathering. The files offer a nuanced examination of the relationship between Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump, which spanned approximately 15 years before a falling out in 2004. Trump appears in at least 3 images from the new batch. One shows him at a Hawaiian-themed party surrounded by 6 women whose faces are redacted. Another shows him sitting with a woman on what appears to be an aircraft. Despite the provocative nature of the photos, investigators and journalists note that none of the images released thus far show Donald Trump engaging in illegal activity or provide smoking gun evidence of involvement in Epstein's sex trafficking ring. Despite the December 19th deadline, the release has been criticized for being incomplete. Huge swaths of the 95,000 photos remain unreleased to the public. The House Oversight Committee has stated it is redacting the faces of potential victims to protect their privacy. The Department of Justice released a partial batch on the deadline day, announcing that the remainder of the files would be released over several weeks. This has led to accusations of a cover-up from some lawmakers who argue the DOJ is violating the transparency law. The files have unearthed details that paint a picture of Jeffrey Epstein's obsessive need for leverage and his strange intellectual preoccupations. Photos of a landline phone at Epstein's island residence showed first names written on the speed dial, hinting at the immediacy of his access to powerful people. Some of the most personal images include Epstein in a bathtub and a selfie of the financier with a swollen lip, the context of which remains unknown. The release has turned into a partisan battleground. Democrats, led by Representative Robert Garcia, claim the files prove a White House cover-up. At the same time, the White House and Republican allies accuse Democrats of cherry-picking photos to create a false narrative against President Trump, noting that Trump himself signed the act to release these very files.
And in other news that we're tracking, the Rourkela police have busted a massive fake lottery syndicate. 4 men have been arrested. Rupees 25 lakh cash has been seized, and a full counterfeit ticket printing setup has been recovered. Here's a report on that.
In a major crackdown, Rourkela police have busted a fake lottery racket operating under plant-side police station limits. Acting on a tip-off, multiple raids were carried out across the city on December 20th. Police recovered counterfeit lottery tickets, incriminating material, and Rs 25,37,260 rupees in cash. The accused were manufacturing fake lottery tickets and distributing them through agents across Rourkela. 4 men have been arrested in the case. Police seized 8 mobile phones, 5 notebooks, a desktop computer, printer, and other material used to print the fake tickets. A case has been registered under sections of the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita and Lotteries Regulation Act. The police are now tracking other members of the network and probing the full extent of the racket.
This week on Get Me Right, 3 events that together signal a tectonic geopolitical shift in the world. The United States released its national security strategy paper. The UK, its intelligence and security report from the parliament. And amidst all this, China crossed, for the first time in world history for any nation, $1 trillion of trade surplus. And then the gas chamber that our national capital becomes every winter. Is there any hope, or are we condemned to live this forever? This weekend, Saturday and Sunday, only on Republic TV.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरे राजा सबका राजा आरप्योर मसाला।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी।
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
झुमका तेरा झुमका तेरा झुमका।
नॉट देयर, मेरा काउंटर टॉप टूट जाएगा।
तेरा झुमका।
मेरी चिमनी टूट जाएगी। What are you doing?
रानी, इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील TMT से बना।